What is up, guys? You're very welcome to another Degenerate Watch live stream. Big shout out to everyone that's watching this back on the replay. We have a few things to get through tonight here on the show, and we're going to be discussing some news stories that I've come across in the last week or so. Going to have an update on a video that I showed the last time, just a small update on the Alabama pastor. I tried to show that video the last time, but we had some technical difficulties, so didn't get around to showing that. But a lot of you had already seen that clip anyway, so we're just going to discuss a bit about that. We're going to look at a couple of other clips, including a California deputy who was arrested just there in the last couple of days. And we're also going to look, hopefully, at a box truck chase in Florida. So we've got a few bits coming up over the next while on the show tonight. So hopefully it goes a bit better than the last stream. We had a few technical difficulties, but hopefully now going forward it should be a little bit better. A shout out to Rob there in the comments. Thank you for joining us. Even though I kept you waiting there for a few minutes, but we're here now anyway. So I sent out a post there on the community tab there just a few minutes ago, so hopefully a few people will get a notification. I know YouTube's been a bit brutal lately with that, so you never know. But I might as well just get on and talk about the first point there. So you'll probably remember the Alabama pastor that was arrested for watering plants in his front garden. Well, the charges against him have been dropped. He was speaking on Good Morning America the other day, where he was saying that he's still a bit shaken up by the whole thing, and that he's he obviously thinks it was a case of profiling, and it does kind of seem like that. And now there's been nothing said, well, according to him, to the neighbor. It's kind of like they've just kind of moved on or whatever like that. But he was just saying that he's planning on filing a lawsuit, so we'll have to see how that goes. So very bad. And the fact that it turned out that he was legit in the end, and even the neighbors, I think, came forward afterwards and said that it was just a misunderstanding or whatever. But I think everybody on all sides there, from the police to himself and all, like, everybody could have done better, especially the neighbor ringing the police on him instead of going and finding out what was going on. But there we go. And that kind of brings us into our first clip that we're going to take a look at when we're talking about neighbors. So there was a shooting in Spokane in Washington, and it involved the police. Now, there's a lot of criticism of the police in this shooting because I'm not actually going to show the shooting. There's no footage of the shooting itself. There's CCTV footage. I've tried to zoom in on it a bit, but it's very bad. Somebody's recorded it off a monitor, so it's not really the greatest footage. We're going to have a look at that now in a second there. And then we'll discuss that and see what people think. Just say there's a few people arriving there. We've got 8 people here so far. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Rob joining us. Vert there, Folk is saying hello, fine folk. And then we have Roisin there in the comments saying, Diagwiva Carja, hello friends. And Grim Reefer, I like that, good name. Many of his neighbors also said he has a huge problem with everyone attacking his blackness. And see, that's the thing that they were talking about on Good Morning America. They were actually saying that's this thing of driving while black, playing golf while black, all of these different things, and people are getting the police called on them. And like, this is just the latest case of it, is now watering the plants while black or whatever, or helping your neighbor out. So it's a weird one there. And so I'll keep people updated if I find out any more about how his lawsuit went. I presume that's going to take a while. I think if you actually look that up on YouTube, the Good Morning America interview, it's kind of brief, but his lawyer does speak on it a bit as well about the whole thing. And so that's interesting. And Dave McGuinness is joining us there in the chat. Hello, Dave. Good to see you. So we look at this first clip, and this is from Spokane in Washington, and this involves that police shooting. But it's a very bizarre situation, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But also, this is a situation of just kind of, I think there's a bit of an underlying dispute with the neighbor in this, so I think that may have something to do with it. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that there now.
This is Robert Bradley and his girlfriend, Sarah McLaughlin.
He was 41 years old.
They were finishing up a busy weekend of camping and enjoying downtown Spokane.
We had just gotten back from Pig Out in the Park. We were camping. So he was bringing the guns inside from the van.
That's when Sarah says Spokane police came down the street.
He's digging through there looking for something, and he sits up, hands empty. Before he even has time to put his hands up, he's dodging bullets.
SPD says 2 Spokane police officers fired the shots. But let's back up and compare Sarah's story to the pictures and video we have gathered. Here's the van Sarah and Robert took camping in North Idaho this past weekend. You can see that same van here in the couple's home security system video. This is just after 10 o'clock last night. You can see Robert walk out of the house, unlock the van, then open the door. As Sarah mentioned, he seems to stand at the passenger door for the next 1 minute and 15 seconds. At 1 minute and 24 seconds into the video, you see 1, 2, 3 Spokane police officers enter the screen. Just 5 seconds after that, you see the first few shots flash. Then another round, just seconds after that.
They didn't give it any time to react at all.
Spokane police say they acted quickly because they had received a report from a neighbor that Robert was outside with an AR-15 style gun.
No, he wasn't just wandering around with a gun in his hand. He was just loading stuff in and out like you do after your camping trip, you know?
Sarah says the person who called police is their next door neighbor.
Leading up to this was property line dispute.
Sarah says he had left this note threatening to tow away and trash anything over his property line. She says both Robert and the neighbor started the process of anti-harassment orders.
Nobody was threatened. There was no reason for anybody to get hurt.
Now Robert's family is left with frustration.
He didn't even have time to put his hands up before they shot him. There were kids in the house, dogs in the house, me at the front door with bullets just flying everywhere for no reason.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a crazy one there. Seems like they were only coming back from a hunting and camping trip, and it seems like there was a misunderstanding. Now, that whole thing about there being a property line dispute, I'd say that does feed into it a lot. It was probably, my opinion is it was probably, one of these neighbors trying to get back at them. So they were probably ringing the police. It's like the whole swatting thing when you just, when that goes on. So I think that was going on. Yeah, and Roisin saying they're being outside with a gun should not be a death sentence, and that's true. And it seems by that clip, if everything works out the way they were describing it there, he didn't really get a chance to react at all, to be quite honest. And Roisin saying more of an execution / murder, and I kind of see that. And this is the thing; these are the sort of incidents why there's a lot of people criticizing the police, and why it is dangerous for police as well, because there's this distrust when things like this happen. And we'll actually see that later on when we look at this California deputy. It's the same thing. These things don't do any favors to the police. And Rob is saying there that crazy bit of business, man, I hate when neighbors get petty. And that's true. It's better obviously if everyone gets along, but you're always going to have people that can get petty over stupid things, and especially in that situation now, if that's what it's led to, it's after costing that man his life. Now I know the police have a responsibility there at the same time, but had the call not been made in the first place, same when we go back to that pastor, what would happen if the police had to come up on him a different way, and maybe it could have ended up a lot different for that man, and he was completely innocent. So it's situations like that, especially when it comes to that. I presume the neighbor seen them with the guns, and it was it was a great excuse in their mind to call the police on them or whatever. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty bad. So yeah, and that poor girl as well is left without her partner now, and that's pretty traumatic, especially after having a nice weekend away when you're only out camping and stuff like that. So yeah, just really bad situation there, and hopefully to get to the bottom of that. But I can see there being a lot of controversy over that. But I haven't really heard a lot about that. I just came across it the other day, and it only happened recently, but it happened in a place called Hillside in Spokane in Washington. I was going to cover a different clip next, but I think we'll go into the California deputy because that's kind of, it's on topic, I suppose. I don't know if any of you seen that there was a California sheriff's deputy from Alameda County, actually from a town called Dublin. And when I seen it first, said something like Dublin murders or something, I was like, oh. And then I noticed it was in the United States. It's very weird saying Dublin somewhere that's not here, like, you know, but yeah, so that's where it is. And yeah, so it's a bit of a crazy story too, and it's one of those ones where perhaps the guy should have seen it coming, you know. Very bad situation, but we'll have a look at the clip anyway. The clip is a bit more lengthy than the one we've just watched there, because it just covers the initial report, and then there's a little bit of an update that I found then after I've added on to the end of it. But yeah, we'll have a look at that. And Dave McGuinness is just saying, you kind of need to wonder, that pops up, you kind of need to wonder what the backstory is, i.e. is there threatening behavior before just being devils? And that's it, you know. You don't know what the whole story is. Like, obviously, in a lot of those cases, you know, there's two sides, obviously, to every story, but in a lot of those cases, there's a lot of tit for tat, I suppose, you know, in those situations. So, I don't know, you know. But at the same time, though, I don't know why. Obviously, police perhaps seeing the guns, and that's why they shot. But Grim Reaper saying, Spokane, Washington, with a 456,000 population. What else are you going to do but shoot at things in the dark? But see, that's it's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? It's I've actually seen that recently with a clip. It happened a while ago. Some of you may have seen it. I think actually, if any of you watched Donut Operator, I think he actually covered it too. It was a Dallas police shooting where they were shooting out through the windows of the police car and everything, driving up the street. And I just thought it was crazy. Anyone steps out of a shop or a house or anything like that could get hit with a stray bullet. Like, you know, I just thought it was mad. And then Russian sense still did not warrant that amount of force looking at the film. And yeah, but that's true, like, because it seems like everything happened really quickly. Like, they may have shouted at him or asked him to put his hands up. He might have turned around to see what was going on, and they probably misinterpreted that as something. And it's crazy, yeah, but it was a bit too. And if you look at where they approached from, like, it's kind of hard to see in the clip, but I kind of wonder, you know, if we had a better angle at it, would we better understand what was going on? So hopefully there is. Because Roshan was saying, I wonder if the police have cameras, and you'd be expecting that to be some sort of a body cam footage there. So, yeah, it would be. Rob saying to Dave there in the comments that most likely was more back and forward than we'd ever really hear about. Be nice to know all the ins and outs, and that's it. We probably never hear the full story. I don't know if the neighbours will come out and give their side of the story or anything like that, but Dave saying I was meaning more towards the police, but yes, it's a one-sided story. Yeah, it's crazy, but even with these property line disputes, that it's not worth someone losing their life over. And actually, in the new series that I have, the Sovereign Files, it's not in the first episode, but in one of the episodes after that, we're actually going to look at a property line dispute that actually did end up in a shootout with the police over it, and they were sovereign citizens, of course. But yeah, let's have a look at this clip of the deputy in California, and we'll have a look at that and see. Yeah, this clip is about 4 or 5 minutes long, so it just explains what's going on with that. But it's a crazy story, so we'll have a look at this.
This Alameda County Sheriff's deputy, in fact, worked a normal shift at an Oakland courthouse and then got some overtime at the sheriff's jail here in Dublin before police say he killed this husband and wife. A married couple shot and killed before dawn in Dublin. The suspect, an off-duty Alameda County Sheriff's deputy.
It's a great loss for our community, and it's even more disheartening to find out that it was one of our own that actually was the trigger person behind this tragic incident.
Authorities say Deputy Devin Williams Jr. invaded the home on Colebrook Lane with a gun and killed a 42-year-old woman and her 58-year-old husband at about 12:45 in the morning. The couple have a child together. Neighbor Gabriela Gonzalez was awakened by a commotion and heard Dublin police officers, who are part of the sheriff's office, make the grim discovery at the 5-bedroom home.
Squad car arrived, and after he got out, my windows were open, so I heard him say, "I've got 2 down."
He knew them. He knew them. This was not a random crime.
A motive for the violence unknown.
A very bizarre chain of events that unfolded.
Things unfolded so quickly that as a news conference was about to begin, Dublin Police Chief Garrett Holmes was speaking to the 24-year-old deputy by phone and was able to get him to surrender as he was driving his VW Jetta in the Central Valley. Top sheriff's officials listened in to the call.
We were able to keep him on the phone line and direct the CHP units down to the area near Coalinga.
Investigators say after the killings, the deputy tossed his on-duty weapon, believed to be the gun used in the double homicide, out of his car near the Altamont Pass. Neighbors of the couple stunned that a law enforcement officer allegedly responsible.
It is scary because these are the people that you look to protect you and take care of you, and they're doing things like this.
How can we know that we are secure, especially when a police officer committed a crime?
Now, this Alameda County Sheriff's deputy formerly worked as a Stockton police officer, but failed his probationary period after a year. Now, the sheriff's office here in Dublin says that they did a very complete background check and no red flags were raised. I've confirmed this deputy was involved in a romantic relationship with the woman he's now accused of gunning down, along with her husband. Now, that deputy's mother telling me her son was blinded by love and that she tried to warn him. Alameda County Sheriff's Deputy Devin Williams Jr. now behind bars at the very same jail where he worked just hours before the violence. It's a stunning turn for a law enforcement officer now accused of fatally shooting married couple Benison and Maria Tran in their 5-bedroom home on Colebrook Lane in Dublin early Wednesday morning. I've learned that the deputy had been in a romantic relationship with 42-year-old Maria Tran, seen here in this undated photo. She was gunned down along with 57-year-old Benison Tran, her husband of 2 decades and a retired engineer for the city of Santa Clara.
She told him she loved him. They were on a 10-day trip.
By phone, the deputy's mother, Anitra Williams, told me her son had started a relationship with Maria Tran back in January. The two met at John George Psychiatric Hospital, where Tran worked as a nurse.
Maria Tran represented herself as an unmarried woman. In fact, her exact words were she was a 35-year-old single parent who had been recently divorced.
She says she urged her son to stay clear of her. Anitra Williams made clear violence is unacceptable.
Bottom line is right now there's a young boy that's missing both his mother and father. I don't condone anything that happened.
She says her son called her while driving in the Central Valley.
I told him the cowardly thing to do would be to take your life. I talked to my son and told my son, tap into who I raised you to be.
The deputy then spoke to the Dublin police chief and surrendered to CHP officers in Coalinga. Williams was a former Stockton police officer but failed his probationary period after a year.
Our people are saying, did we miss something? Did we not do something right?
Sheriff's Lieutenant Ray Kelly says no one was aware of the deputy's inner turmoil.
Somewhere in the last several months of his life, some significant events happened that led up to this moment. A lot of those events went undiscovered and undisclosed.
Now that deputy's being held without bail here at Santa Rita Jail in Dublin. The DA is reviewing the case before determining whether to file formal charges. One last thing. The deputy said he tossed his on-duty gun, allegedly used in the killings, out of his car in the Altamont Pass area. That gun has still not been found. Reporting live in Dublin, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Henry, have we learned anything more about the child? The couple had a child. Where is that child? Did the child witness what happened?
Yeah, the child is a boy about 12 or 13 years old. He was among about 6 other folks in the home. We don't know if he witnessed the actual crime, but we trust that he is now with relatives.
So just before we get into discussing there, I just want to say hello to a few people that have joined. Hello to Joe Fitz. Hello to Emma A. Good to see you. I think I've caught up on who's joined us there. So good to see you guys. So yeah, that was a bit of a crazy one there. typical love triangle, obviously there. And I don't know what went down now, whether the husband discovered it or she had broke it off or something like that. But obviously, as you heard there, his mother was trying to obviously tell him beforehand that to get away from it, because I think they were saying that she had said that she was this, she didn't have a partner, or she didn't tell him she was married anyway. And probably it could have been when he found that out, he got annoyed and maybe went over and did that. But absolutely crazy to throw everything away just for that. Really, and I suppose police department's going to come on under heavy criticism there, because they're going to say, they're even obviously there's questions being asked, how didn't they see this now? But obviously you can't predict that that's going to happen. Some guy you hire is going to get into a love triangle and end up doing that after work someday. But really crazy story there, and I really feel bad for the poor kid that's caught up in the middle of it there, because I know it's bad to lose a parent at any age, but that they're saying he's only 12 or 13 or something. So as a teenager, it's hard enough being a teenager than having to lose a parent like that or something. And especially in those circumstances, and both parents actually, crazy. And Roisin just saying about how would the police predict, and see, that's the thing, people are already leveling criticism at the police, kind of saying, and the fact that he failed his probation in a previous department, but according to them, they did all the checks that they could, and that's the thing I'm saying with a lot of these, even these mass shootings and all that happen, you can't predict. Somebody today could go and pass all the checks to get a weapon, and you don't know what events are going to transpire in their life 10, 15 years down the road, or 6 months down the road, or whenever, and or what they're going to get involved in. And you just, half of that stuff you can't just predict. You know what I mean? It's so hard. I like a lot of cases, right? There is signs coming up to it, and in hindsight, when people look back afterwards, but at the same time, in a lot of these situations, it's very hard to predict how, that these people are going to just lash out or whatever. And you don't know what's going on, I suppose, behind closed doors at the same time. Rob just saying there as well, very messy with the kid involved, and yeah, of course, very bad. And obviously, hopefully now there's some sort of relatives that the kid can go with, that hopefully the kid doesn't end up in care away from his family. Hopefully he can go to some grandparents or something. But then again, of course, that's tough depending on the age of the grandparents and stuff. And Grim Reaper saying Alameda, California, with a population of 79,000. What else are you going to do but shoot at things in the dark? I think I see a pattern here. When did firearms become the stop point of conversation? And see, that's the thing, when you see a lot of this violence, even those shootings in McDonald's over cold fries in New York, it seems like nobody wants to talk anymore. It's lash out straight away. Even here in Ireland, there's been an awful lot of assaults very recently. If there was one there recently at Electric Picnic, there was one, I know, when somebody was getting off the Lewis recently, there was an assault, and there's been a few assaults, a couple in Kildare there. And it seems like, I don't know, I was talking to one of my neighbours recently, and he was saying that even since the lockdown's finished, there seems to be this built up rage or something. A lot of people are lashing out. It seems to be a lot more violent now than it was beforehand, I think. But it's crazy. And Roisin's just saying there several horrid assaults. And another thing I just wanted to mention was, since Dublin came up in that, and it was a thing recently, there was a story in the news here very recently where there was a sister, an 18-year-old girl, and then two twins murdered by their brother in Dublin just there in the last week or so there, and they were only buried yesterday, I think. And that was very sad, very bad, very hard for that community. And when the news broke first, I kind of thought that, initially when I heard some guy had been arrested and all, I thought it was something to do with, a relationship breaking down and, an argument and stuff like that. But then when the news started coming out that it was actually a brother, and one of the most horrific things about it was that after he had murdered the two kids and the 18-year-old, he threw the two kids out through the upstairs window for some reason. So when you're thinking of things like that, obviously that person isn't in the right frame of mind. So I'd probably be of the opinion that might have been like a mental health issue there or something like that. But you know, 3 young people are dead now, and that whole community's, you know, in bits up there like with that. But yeah, Roshi's just saying, can you imagine what it has done to the family? And that's it, you know, like they find it very hard to move on after that. Even some of the neighbors were saying, even with the kids having friends, like, you know, they're going to wonder where their friends are gone and stuff like that. It's really hard. And Joe Fitz is saying, mean people suck. Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, you know, I don't know why people are. But I suppose in that case we're not quite sure. But I'm probably presuming it was something to do with, you know, a mental health thing, because it just seems that way by the vibe of it, you know. But Dave McGinnis saying, look, kids, drugs, and alcohol and guns should not be around together, and that's true. I actually only seen a video the other day of a lady. She was going to some trap house or crack den or whatever it was, and the police stopped her, and she had her, I think it was her 6-year-old kid. Yeah, the kid was turning 6 the next day, and they pulled her over. I think they pulled her over for something wrong with the car. I think the tags were out of date or something like that. It was something, you know, something petty, like, but they had been watching where she had came from, like, and they were saying, like, you have no reason to be in this area with a young kid, like, you know. And I don't know why people bring their kids into situations like that. And Rob saying there in the comments, really terrible stuff. All right, the things that happened that night are hard to think about, and that's true. Like, I can't imagine what was going on in there, or what led up to it. Like, I presume, I don't know, but I presume like there was some sort of a struggle and all. I can't imagine how it felt for the people in there, like with that going, especially the children, like, you know. And it's horrific. Like, it's just one of those things that you can't believe it's actually happened, you know. And then Roisin said 3 dead children, and one of the children a triple murderer. Yeah, it's beyond comprehension of why something like that happens. Like, but you know, and the worst thing about it is that, like, you know, things like that are becoming, you know, more and more common, like, I suppose. But yeah, and I said this before as well when we're talking about it. There is a lack of services out there. Everyone says that anyway. You know, there's a lack of services out there for people with mental health problems. But like, it's the same over here in Ireland. There's only, you know, so many specialists, and you know, there's way more people need to see the specialist than the specialists can look after. Like, you know, and it ends up with people being left in limbo, I suppose, or on medication. And most of the time, I suppose, medication is not a long-term solution. Like, it's not getting to the true cause, I suppose. But you know, there's not enough people out there doing that. And the problem here at the moment is, you know, there's not enough money going into it. Like, there's a lot of people that are getting qualified in these things are leaving the country and going to Australia, Dubai, the UK, stuff like that, Canada even. I think Canada is now the new Australia, because everyone used to be going off to Australia, but now you hear most people everyone's saying, right, are going to Canada. Like, so I suppose people going wherever the work is, or wherever the working conditions or the wages are a bit better. But that's the thing, if we don't pay people over here enough, they're not going to stay, or they're not going to want to train to be these professions. Like, and that's another thing I seen here with there's a GP crisis as well over here. In terms of, like, there's in many towns there's, you know, only a certain amount of GPs, and there's waiting lists to get to see a GP in some places, like, and there's not enough people, because most of the GPs, like most GPs in my town, are older. Like I don't know when the last time I seen a young GP, you know, someone under 40, like, or something like that. I haven't seen it, like, in a long time. And it's kind of worrying, because, you know, when the older guys retire, like, there's no one to take their place. And, you know, obviously the pool dries up of GPs to go to, so the waiting lists get bigger. So I don't really know what's being done to tackle that. But Roisin saying Canada is very It's very much too cold. Yeah, I think so. I don't think I'd survive in Canada for too long. Especially in certain places in Canada where it's very cold. But yeah, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. That deputy in that story we were looking at is most definitely going to spend a long time in jail. And Rosh's saying there that very few will have to go to Ennis for care. And would Ennis be far away from where you actually live? And see, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are having to travel away, and it's another thing is like, in terms of what I find bizarre is that, in terms of stuff like, let's say, radiology and cancer care, like in terms of chemotherapy and stuff like that, I don't understand why there can't be facilities put in place, in towns. Like, I'm not saying in every town, because some towns are smaller, but at least a couple per county, where people that are going to have chemotherapy or something like that, instead of traveling to the hospital miles away, they can be in their local area, because it does take a lot out of people that are trying to travel and do that. So if you could do that in your local community, you wouldn't have as much traveling to do. It might be more convenient for people. It'd be obviously more cost effective for people. But the same with radiology, in terms of getting like scans. Now, I know MRI machines and stuff like that are very expensive to purchase, install, and all that, and you have to have staff that are trained to run them. But if these investments were made, it would take the pressure off the hospitals, and then those machines in the hospitals could be used more for the emergency cases that are coming in, because sometimes you could go to the hospital for a scan and you could be waiting, and if people come in on the ambulance or people from the hospital wards need scans, they might be prioritized ahead of you. So you could be waiting a long time, and that's the thing I'm saying. It would take a bit of pressure off the hospital if people could get those minor things, that like scans, and they could do like chemotherapy and stuff in the community. It'd be a lot better, like in some of these community health centers. But I don't know. I just thought that would help people, because a lot of people travel a lot of miles, like Roisin does, to access healthcare. Like, so it's ridiculous. And that's the thing with Roisin living in the west of Ireland. A lot of the focus in terms of, I suppose, infrastructure and stuff like that is more on the east coast, as probably it's more dense population and stuff like that. But that's why I always say that the west is often forgotten in stuff like that. And just a shout out there to Grim Reefer for the $10. And Grim Reefer says, as a side note, I have been watching your channel as long as there has been one. Big fan, and keep up the content, and look forward to the future. Well done, sir. And thanks very much for that, and appreciate the $10 as well. And glad you've been here since the start. And somebody was just actually commenting on a video that I think it was like the third video I ever posted, and they were just saying about the amount of talking that I did in it. And it's just, when you look back and you kind of see it, you kind of start cringing a bit, because you realize that it was really bad. Like, I don't even like looking back over some of the old videos. But yeah, Grim Reaper and all, because Grim Reaper's been here since the start, so appreciate that, and thanks very much. Dave McGuinness is saying, here is a case they don't want to work in the rural areas. They all want to live in the big cities, can't find work there, so they have to leave to work elsewhere. And that's true. Yeah, a lot of people say that's the thing. There's a lot of focus on moving into cities and stuff like that, and that's where the work is, I suppose. And I remember years ago, the government, now I don't remember it as much, but the government tried a sort of a decentralization thing here, where they were trying to stop workers having to commute as much, but it ended up in just kind of nearly splitting up families. Because if for example, if you worked in the public service, right, and they were outsourcing your department, and they said, well, your department's going to be based, in a place, 50 miles away, like, you're either going to have to commute or move. And if your partner also works in the public service, let's say, and they were getting sent somewhere else, there was a lot of things. And I'm not quite sure now. Don't quote me on it, but I don't think that really worked out as they were planning with stuff like that. It was very messy, I think. But yeah, if there was more investment put out into places like further, further out. People wouldn't have to travel, and therefore there might be more services in these places, And Stephen Mazur is saying hi all from Denver. Good to see you, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Roisin saying she's a culture. I suppose I'm a culture myself. People on dialysis need nearby facilities also, and that's another thing. Ferk is saying there. Dialysis is another thing. People having to do it very regularly, and obviously it takes a lot out of you, and there's more traveling, more cost. And the thing here, I don't know how it works in the US or even in the UK in some places, but in a lot of the hospitals here, you have to pay for your parking in the hospital. So like, when you think about it, if these people are regularly having to travel to the hospital for these things and they're paying parking charges on top of fuel, and well, I suppose they're probably having to eat out that day because get something when you're up at the hospital or whatever. But and Joe said he's watching from DC. A good mix of people from all around. And then Roisin saying drive west from Dublin for 2.5 hours and you're back at 1940. And sometimes it does seem like that because I see a lot of people are always criticizing, saying that the politicians don't seem to look outside the M50 for anything else, to say Ireland stops at the M50. But so it's stuff like that, more community based sort of healthcare. It'll stop people having to travel, I suppose. But I was trying to remember what we were doing there. I haven't, before Dave McGinnis says that I haven't lost my train of thought this time. I kind of the train departed the station twice in the last live stream. I lost what I was something shiny, and I lost my concentration. But so that deputy, I'll keep people informed if I find out any more about what happened with that deputy there. Other little clip I want to look at is from a place called Murray in Utah, and it involves an attempted abduction. It involves an attempted abduction, and there's a little girl in it that was very quick thinking, and especially for her age. So I just thought this was a good clip, and it shows that how important it is, I suppose, to teach our kids about, the whole stranger danger thing, because this time it really did work out. And just before I hop into the clip, I'll just go through a couple of comments there. I knew David said that was a choo choo. No, it hasn't. We haven't departed yet. Now Roisin says she has Wi-Fi. That's a plus anyway. I think electricity arrived out, on the other side of the M50 about 2 weeks ago. But Stephen Mazur saying 1940s gas prices sound pretty good now. Definitely, I think. It just seems to be going out of control at the moment. Don't know when it's going to stop, and worried kind of about the winter, how it's going to go in terms of heating and stuff like that, and plus the price of electricity. Government's talking about possibly giving some sort of I don't know what you call it, some sort of a payment, like some sort of relief to people, but depends on how far that's going to stretch, Roger said no electric grid turbines. Well, at least it's cleaner. It's cleaner than the electricity. And that's the thing I was saying with electric cars and all, that if they're being charged with electricity made from fossil fuels, they're not really as clean as they're made out to be, including, as I said, the mining and everything that goes along with that. So we'll have a little look at this clip from a place called Murray in Utah.
Like, she was shaking, scared.
Still shaking.
I know, it's okay.
Jacob Schaefer says it was just before 10:30 last night when his 7-year-old daughter came running in for help.
And saying some guy tried to take a little kid, and I'm like, what?
Schaefer says a group of kids from the complex were playing night games when a man in a maroon station wagon type vehicle tried to get an 8-year-old boy to go with him.
I said, well, don't go.
Autumn says right away she knew her friend was in trouble.
My gut told me he was a stranger.
Schaefer and several parents ran after the driver, confronting him as he drove away. He says one parent even punched him. They provided this security video to police.
He's not making much sense when he's talking, and you could tell something was up a little bit.
Schaefer says he's proud of his daughter for knowing something was wrong and getting help. He hopes other children will feel empowered to do the same.
I'm proud of her, that's something we've taught her whole life is to stranger danger. You stay away from people that you do not know.
Yeah, so that little girl there was pretty quick thinking there, and luckily for her that that guy didn't get to go off with the child he was trying to abduct there. But unfortunately, they didn't manage to stop the guy as he got away. But they're still trying to track him down. They're actually investigating to find out more about the license plate to try. To try figure out that out. But fair play to that little girl there, and she should be praised for that. That's good thinking and good for the parents raising her that way. But I just thought that was something to show how these things, especially now that darker evenings are coming in, and when kids are in school, they might go out to play afterwards, and kind of just something to be wary of, with these sort of creeps going around. Stephen Mazur is saying, I learned this in school, but I'm curious if you know how Irish got the reputation as drinkers and fighters when people drink and fight everywhere. Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah, I don't know, I don't see that there's any more fighting goes on here, I suppose, than anywhere else, but historically, I suppose that kind of goes back to I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, where that comes from. Me myself, I don't drink a lot. I like a drink, but I don't drink an awful lot. But I can see where it comes from in certain ways. But Roshi said we can hold a grudge. Let's see what's going on there in the comments. Dave McGinnis has Degenerate Watch got his undies out on the line to generate your power. Oh, that would not be a good sight. Stephen saying Ireland was almost all farm country, and the eldest son would inherit the farm, and they had large families. So lots of second, fourth, 9 sons could not get married till they were 27. Oh yeah, I remember years ago there was a whole thing where I don't know what it was. I think Charles Haughey, when he was Taoiseach, he brought in something to do with there was something back then to do with people were getting let's say the father would die and the farm would be handed down to the son, and the son could chuck the mother out of the house, do you know what I mean? And she'd have no roof over her head. So I think they brought in something to put a stop to that sort of thing going on. But yeah, crazy now. It's nearly a burden probably to inherit anything here in the country now, because with the likes of inheritance tax, and they're always threatening that they want to increase that and stuff like that. But yeah, I always found that a kind of a tough one to do with people inheriting stuff and then having to pay a tax on it. It's a weird one. Grim Reaper saying New York is where that reputation came from. I suppose, yeah, and a lot of the Irish probably went over there years ago. I suppose I think a lot of Irish probably worked building some of the skyscrapers that were over there in New York and stuff like that. I was here back in time. Roger saying back in time, every farmer with a cattle farm was king. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that was the thing. I think that, you know, years back, probably farmers were held in higher regard. Like it seems like that's slipping away these days with I don't know what's eroding that, like, because I noticed a lot of people, like, you know, years ago they were more concerned with, you know, like, I know people are concerned where their stuff's coming from now, but now it's with this whole, you know, the price of everything. People are starting to, you know, and that's gonna that's what I'm saying. The farmers getting hammered at the moment with things like, you know, where they're talking about reducing cattle numbers, and then there was something I read in the paper today where they're talking about about banning certain fields. There's a whole grey area over what they're going to do with that, about banning certain fields being ploughed because they're carbon. The soil is more of a carbon sink than other types of soil, and it just seems like, and then now they're talking about this with the types of diesel that the farmers use, that they want them to be using normal diesel. You know, it seems like they're looking for a boogeyman for climate change, you know, and they have to come after somebody. So, and it's very weird because I wouldn't have expected them to take aim at the farming community, but yeah, and so I think Steve. Oh, there no, I think Stephen may have a point with that comment there. Maybe, yeah, with everything being so strict, yeah, and that's true. And when people got to let off a bit of steam, they seemed to go mad. Maybe that was the case. But yeah, that's true. And then Steve was saying Koreans drink more than anyone else, and plenty of other countries are more violent than Ireland. And that's the thing as well, as there's surprising stats out there for some countries, about countries that you wouldn't think, like you wouldn't expect Korea to be a big drinking country, but you know, Joe Fitz is saying there, my grandfather got in a fight in Ireland, punched the sheriff, and then in the US he became a Boston Mountie. That's interesting. But yeah, crazy times though. And a lot of Irish in Boston as well. Yeah, that's another place where a lot of Irish went over to Boston, and actually there's a big connection there. Even when you see the likes of those bands like Dropkick Murphys and all that, kind of Irish inspired rock music and all. Then we're gonna say, I hear the Irish are great use to build railways. Oh yeah, true, yeah. But see, that's the thing. Great railways back in the day in terms of network coverage. You know, like there was like almost everywhere in the country was covered by rail. But now, over the years, you know, it's got smaller and smaller, the network has, and even now I'm not sure if it's the only county, but it definitely is one of the counties that doesn't have a rail connection. Donegal. If you live in Donegal, you're relying on buses and your own transport, and I think that's the reason why Donegal does have an awful lot of road debts, because when young people obviously become old enough to have a license, that's the first thing they want to do is get out on the road, because they need a car, because there's no good public transport up there. Donegal, very forgotten about up there. It's just so far away, I suppose. But yeah, that's bad. I don't know how people do that over there with no proper public transport at all. Like, so I suppose anywhere that we do have transport, even though it mightn't be the greatest, we're probably lucky just that we have anything. But there are some good, you know, there is some good public transport. Like, for example, like if the Lewis wasn't there at all, Dublin would be a far more jammed up place with traffic and stuff like that. So like even though the Lewis is probably, you know, I'd say it's probably at its capacity, or, you know, over capacity in terms of, you know, maybe see what happens here is by the time a lot of these projects are finished, you know, they're nearly obsolete, and it takes that long to get things done. It's just the fact that plans are, you know, laid out maybe 10 years before. And again, this thing actually gets to fruition, like the places. It's like that with this children's hospital they're building here. It's probably going to be the dearest children's hospital in the world when it's finished. and they're saying that, you know, there's critics out there that are saying that most likely by the time it's built and open, that it'll be obsolete, that they're going to need something bigger. And the problem with this place is it's in the city centre, practically, and there's no room for expansion around it. There was calls for them to build it outside the city, you know, on a kind of a green, what they call a greenfield site, and they persisted on building it there. Now there's budget overruns and stuff on it, and yeah, it obviously on paper it looks like it's going to be a great facility, but you know, they had it built it somewhere else. They could have had room to expand it in the future. What's going to end up happening here is that when we do need extra capacity, we're just going to have to build another hospital somewhere else, and that'll be another so many years, etc. So yeah, not good. But yeah, what Dave was saying about the railways, yeah, that's the thing. They could do with more investment, I suppose. Yeah, Russia sent back to the horse-drawn plows. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised soon with the price of everything. But then again, the food to feed the horse might be even too expensive at the rate it's going. Grim Reaper said, "Then you haven't been to Korea, big time drinkers." I definitely haven't been to Korea. Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that, but yeah, that's surprising. Let's see what else being said. Not a lot of forethought and planning, and Rob saying there never is. And that's true. Like, there's even the thing is, I think we're one of the only. I don't think we're the only one. I think that's maybe a bit sensationalist, but we're one of the only countries in Europe that doesn't have a rail link to the airport, a direct rail link to the airport. If you arrive in Dublin, you're going to have to get a bus, a taxi, or a hire car to get into the city centre, probably to your accommodation, which is disappointing, obviously, for most people that arrive at the airport. I'm saying I follow a page on Facebook because I'm interested in aviation, and some people who work in the airport often say that people arriving from abroad, and just get a quick drink there, that excuse me, people that travel from abroad usually say, "Oh, which way to the trains?" And they kind of just say, "Oh, there is none," you know, and they're kind of looking at them like they have about 20 heads. They can't believe that, because they might be coming up from somewhere like Germany or France or somewhere where, you know, it's more connected. But that's what we desperately need, something like that out to the airport. But this thing that they're talking about now, there's a lot of controversy over this metro. If that ever gets built, they're talking about that as long as I can remember. But Grim Reaper saying, a lot of Irish in the chat being born Brit. I feel outnumbered. Now we get to see how Charles will screw it all up. Yeah, I'm actually surprised. There's a good lot of Irish in the chat, and not normally there's more people from the US in the chat. I haven't actually, yeah, I haven't actually seen as many Irish people in the chat before at all. I don't think. I'm not sure. It's being born Brit. I feel outnumbered. Now we can see, and that's the thing. I was just looking at that there about Charles. I don't think Charles is as popular as his mother was, obviously, and that's going to be a problem. Plus, I've seen something about Charles before. The Queen even passed away, that they were saying that Charles is very opinionated, whereas the Queen was kind of more reserved. She was more didn't get involved in politics as such like that, and you know, I think that Charles might, you know, I don't know what you said, put his foot in it, and to have enough controversy with everything else that's going on with the royal family, with the likes of, you know, the whole Prince Andrew thing, the Meghan Markle thing, and all that. It's just it's very messy lately. It has been, and even they're talking about even stuff up in Northern Ireland. The whole sentiment may change up there. It's going to be interesting to see how things go along. Dave McGinn saying have a customer that breeds Clydesdale horses. That's cool. I'm saying aren't we all intertwined? Yeah, I think so somehow. We're all up drinking, sure, waiting for a fight. I suppose Rob's probably having a few Guinnesses there, most likely. Saying Charles has no political power. Yeah, but what I was saying is that he probably being kind of sticking his nose into things with giving opinions on things. Like the Queen never kind of got involved in things like that. She was very very reserved and professional about everything. And I actually felt sorry for her with all the controversy that was going on. After especially being old and then losing her husband and all of that stuff going on. It's at the end of the day, regardless, what you think of them or whatever, they're still, I suppose, human beings at the end of the day. Well, I know there's conspiracy theorists out there that might say that they're, what was it, reptilians or something like that. But I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't think I should have warned people to bring the tinfoil. But yeah. Steve Mazur saying I can't relate to affection for royalty. Yeah, I like years ago, like I see, like some people would see some of the ceremonies go on and that they might find it bizarre, but you have to think like that's tradition, I suppose. They're going back years to all those things, when they're giving 3 cheers for the king and all that. That goes back years, like, and I know people might think it's bizarre these days, with stuff like that, but yeah, the monarchy over there does obviously attract an awful lot of tourism and stuff like that. And I suppose a lot of people in the UK, I know there's people over there that don't support the monarchy, but it's hard. I can't really relate to it myself, I suppose, because we haven't had that as such. Like, well, when I was alive, but I suppose years ago, I suppose we had it, but yeah. I don't know if we were that affectionate towards it back in the day. Dave McGuinness saying, Dave said I'm the only one usually from the southern hemisphere. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of viewers from southern hemisphere. I don't think. I know I have some in Australia, a couple in New Zealand, but it's sometimes hard to tell because I don't often say, everybody let us know where you're from. And some people that obviously say it. I must do that more often and we can kind of see where everybody's tuning in from. I know there's a few people in the States now at the moment. We have a few people in Ireland. But I have actually seen in my analytics on YouTube, I've seen a couple of weird things like, sometimes the odd time Sweden and stuff like that comes up, and I find it bizarre, like, because I know there's English speaking people in Sweden and all that, but just when you say that, you're like, oh, that's, it's just weird, like, Joe Fitz is saying I had no warning that your show was coming on this evening, and that's the thing. Even the other day when I was posting a video, I noticed sometimes I'll set the premiere of a video to start, and then I'll post on the community page about it. Like, and what I found is that when I don't post on the community page straight away, let's say I set the post to come up maybe 20 minutes later, half an hour later, I find that people are getting the notifications. Well, it seems it's not an exact science, but I think people are getting the notifications more because I think when I post twice in quick succession like that, what happens is either people don't get the notifications, or because I think YouTube only allows people to get so many notifications per channel per day or something like that. It's to stop getting spammy or whatever. But I think when I put up 2, it might just it's like to cancel each other out or something. So I've been trying not to do that, but I had a post up for this stream now on the community tab, but the way it worked out, it ended up being posted just as I went live. So I don't know if that may have affected. I had said it to actually do it 15 minutes after, but I ended up starting later than I expected. And didn't end up changing it, but hopefully for the next time I'll try announce it a bit earlier. I'm hoping to maybe try do at least one stream a week. I'm hoping to do it maybe either Friday or Saturday, depending on how things go. And probably around the same time. Could be, maybe an hour earlier or so, all depending. But I'll let people know when it's happening, even earlier on during the week or something like that, so that at least people know that it's coming up, and perhaps even set it to public maybe, so that people can set a reminder, kind of like the premiere or something like that. So I'll look into definitely letting people know as well, because I've that's happened a few times with no notifications coming through for some people. And Grim Reaper said, if you thought Gandhi's funeral procession was big, you haven't seen anything yet. And that's what I think this will be big. Like, obviously, like, I in my lifetime I've never seen, a dead of the Queen or, a monarch over there. So I think I've seen one of the weddings before on TV or something like that, in a documentary or something like that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There's something I seen, I can't remember, and there was a big ceremony there. I was years ago. Now, it wasn't the Jubilee recently. It could have been another Jubilee the Queen actually had. It could have been when she was 50 years, because it was a good while ago. Russian saying the royals do generate a good bit of income, and that's it. It is big tourism. Like, that's a big draw for people to go over and look around the palace, and it is interesting to see all those buildings and all. When I was in London before, unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to see Buckingham Palace or anything. I went down to, it was a good few years ago, maybe well over 10 years or more ago. Way more than that, actually. But I've seen the Houses of Parliament, and I think I went to a couple of the museums, was on the Underground and all over there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like, I would like to go and see some more stuff like that. It's interesting that way. It is, because it's quite different, like it's something that, is quite unusual for us here. Like, Steve was saying, well, why would people care about royalty? I just don't get it. I don't get the attraction with having to know the personal lives of these people, and the nitty gritty of everything. And so I don't get that whole, it's even with celebrities, following every little thing that's done and all. I don't get that myself. But I don't know, like, I don't know. It does seem like the way things are gone these days, it can seem like kind of an outdated thing, I suppose. But I don't know. Like, there's been a lot of talk before. People, like, I've seen people commenting before, saying about doing away with the monarchy, and then other people saying, well, tourism will be affected and all. And I don't know. It's kind of a hard one. I don't know what the draw is. And Rob's saying the Guinness is good, pal. Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Actually, an ad came up the other day for Guinness. Well, it wasn't Guinness. Like, it was Guinness India. It was some scam ad. One of those scam ads where, like, it's a staged ad where this guy is just pretend. I don't know if any of you guys get these ads, but it's just like a staged ad where this guy will just meet this random person on the street that just happens to, walk up. It's clearly scripted, like, and he tells this guy, look at my Lamborghini, you can have this, all this nonsense, like, and he tells your man, come into the pub with me, and in 15 minutes I'll show you that my system works or whatever. So they're in this pub anyway, and they're sitting down, and they have the two worst looking pints of Guinness I ever seen in my life. There's no head on the Guinness. Why head on the Guinness? It's literally just a frog spawn on the top of it. It's ridiculous. And these men were lapping it up, and I just knew then that man could not be trusted. That man could not be trusted to help me again financially if he was going to be drinking that sort of Guinness. Roisin saying Camilla seems to have kept Charles on the straight and narrow. That's exactly what my mother said. My mother said that exact thing the other day. And I think that is true. Yeah, she seems to be like, you know, his anchor there, that's keeping him grounded, and that may be well useful for him, obviously, like with this now. Like I can't imagine how like his head must be spinning at the moment, because like he just after losing his mother, like, but then there's all the ceremonies and all the different things, and he's having to, you know, meet all these people and do all these things. I can't imagine. It's hard enough like losing someone in your family than having all of that on top of it. So I can understand the way why what's it, Prince Harry kind of wanted to step away from life. Now a lot of people say Meghan had a lot to do with that, and I suppose you could look at it that way too, but I suppose he's probably looking at it going, he was never going to end up being king or nothing, and to be, you know, in the limelight all the time. I don't really know. It's kind of hard, but yeah, Camilla seems to have done that. Now I from what I've seen of Princess Diana and all, I thought she was very nice, and that was unfortunate as well. But Joe saying lizard folk, and then of course I just mentioned Diana there. We're getting into the whole conspiracy thing. If people, if anybody kind of buys into that or whatever, like it is an interesting, it is very interesting the way that that whole thing happened. Now the last stream, Dave will know this. Yeah, the last stream that we had, I started talking about a certain country, that is conducting a special operation in Europe somewhere, and the stream went down momentarily, and yeah, I'm not taking out a tinfoil hat here or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when we mention certain things here, funny things happen. So Joe could have something there with these the lizard folk could be onto us. Yeah, Roche is saying we have not had a good relationship with royalty. No. But one thing that we're talking about on the news the other day was when they brought the Queen. Remember, the British Army came into Croke Park, which is like our national GAA stadium. They came in to Croke Park and shot some people at a match that was ongoing, shot a player and stuff as well. And there's a part in there where, you know, like it's like a memorial or whatever to this thing. So they brought the Queen there when she visited Ireland. I think it was back in 2011. And somebody was just commenting about this on the news the other day, when somebody said to the Queen, this is the place where, you know, British troops came in and murdered so many people or whatever. And they said, like, she just kind of, you know, looked, and she said you could hear the emotion in her voice, and she said, I know, you know, in a kind of you know, that she, you know, she was well aware of that, and that it's, you know, it was a terrible thing to have happened, like, you know. But yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I seen just now that you're saying that, on Facebook, and now there's a lot of comments, you know, when you see the posts about the Queen, just an awful lot of comments, and some of them are quite disgusting in terms of, like, I know people may have their opinions on the Queen, the royal family and stuff like that, but at the same time, you know, there was some people absolutely kind of taking it to another level. Like, you know, you can have your bit of fun or your jokes or whatever, but, you know, there's a level, and some of the stuff that was being said is just it seemed really immature, like, and it looks bad on, you know, not so much I want to say Irish people, but like just certain people looking at it will say, like, you know, you'd hope that they wouldn't say all Irish people are like that with some of the stuff that was being said, which I won't repeat here, like, you know. But yeah, Dave is saying she might remind him of his favorite polo pony. That's something, a polo. Yeah, polo. I suppose he's getting old now. He mightn't be able to play polo for much longer. You know. Rob is saying, sure, while we're on the subject of the English royal family, fun fact, every monarch from Henry the Fourth comes from Irish ancestry. That's interesting. I did not know that. thanks for that bit of knowledge there. Yeah, that's crazy. Henry, I was just thinking here of Henry VIII. Yeah, he was the guy that wanted to get divorced, wasn't he? And I think he set up the Church of England because he couldn't get a divorce or something like that. I think that was the story there. But yeah, that's interesting fact. Steve Mazur saying, my view is American. The word royal. Maybe saying as American, the word royalty equates with evil. The U.S. Constitution forbids Americans from ever accepting any title of nobility under pain of loss of citizenship. I see that's the thing as well, and there's the thing as well with America and their history with the UK. That's the thing. Maybe that's where that comes from why things like that were written like that in the Constitution. Because of the past, like, if you know what I mean. Russia saying she just got a notification, which well, I suppose you're already here, so it's not very useful to you. But yeah, just want to give a shout out to Joe there for the super sticker. Because I'm on this streaming thing here, I can't actually see what the sticker is, but thanks very much, Joe. It's very much appreciated. And I just wanted to say that because it was about to go off and just before I forgot there, Joe. And then Dave saying that might be my VPN. You never know. Grim Reaper saying Royals go back. Just trying to catch up with a few of the comments here. Royals go back thousands of years. Yes, it's not useful in today's global economy. It's all about having a flag and a face to associate with it for common unity. And that's it there. That's why I think, like, it's obviously a lot of people like the royal family and all, because it does carry on a tradition that goes back thousands of years. I suppose a lot of people would feel if they abolished the monarchy that they would kind of lose some of their identity, you know, because, you know, the Queen, the monarchy, it is a kind of a symbol of the UK. It's a you know, it's what you associate with the UK. So I suppose if they did lose that, people would probably be feeling like they're being stripped of their identity a bit, you know, in terms of their you know, traditions and culture and stuff like that. Rob saying he didn't get a notification, but that is a lie. And I know that this man is lying here because I informed this man myself. But yeah, but you still should have got a notification. Okay, I understand. I understand this. Yeah, you should have still got a notification. See, did anybody else get a notification, or did you just happen upon the stream, or did it just show up somewhere? But yeah. Stephen Mazurson, what's happened when you do get notified? It should just give you a little notification on YouTube, just saying that either like we've posted a video or like we have a premiere starting in, like, I think sometimes it's supposed to give you a notification before like half an hour before the premiere starts or whatever like that. Now, that's if you have notifications turned on. So if anybody isn't getting notifications, just make sure, check that you have notifications turned on, and even click it to all so you get all notifications. And I see, just for channel members there, I'm just after remembering the YouTube's just after announcing there in the last couple of days that they have launched notifications for members only content. So it should be now that anytime I post a members only video or a post or anything like that, you should now, I say, because, you know, with YouTube sometimes you should get a notification about that, because there's a few members only videos that are actually up there at the moment that I think most members haven't actually seen yet. So if you haven't seen them, there's a members only playlist, and there's also, if you just go onto the channel's the main channel homepage, and you should be able to scroll across the tabs along the top. There should be a membership tab, and then everything for your membership will be in there. It's just weird the way it's worked up until now, the way they haven't actually been given out notifications, but they're saying that that's a thing now. So Grim Reaper saying many PMs for years, but only one queen. Yeah, that's true. I think it was that Liz Truss, I think, was her 14th or 15th. 15th, I think it was Prime Minister. That's actually crazy when you think how long she was there for. And just imagine, I was looking at some of the old footage that were shown on the news of her back in the like 1950s and 60s, and even some of the, you know, the stuff that were used, and even the furniture, the vehicles and stuff like that. She must have seen some changes in her time there as well, especially seeing all the different people coming and going and stuff like that. And obviously she would have had a great life in terms of all the different people she would have met over the years from around the world. People like, you know, big cultural figures as well, world leaders, religious leaders, stuff like that. So it's interesting. You know, it must have been a very interesting life. You know, Russian saying she got a pop-up notification. Stephen Mazur saying the band Queen I can relate to, not royalty. I think everyone can relate to the band Queen. I'm sure most people probably have a song by Queen that they like. Roshan saying you have to make sure that the notifications are set to all on the YouTube page. Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you just set I don't know. I think I don't know what way it works when you just click the bell. I don't know what, like, I know YouTube gives you some. I think it could be just videos, and I think with all you might get, you know, all posts and stuff like that. And then Joe said, I just wanted to let you know about the notes. No, thanks very much for that. It's good to know that as well, to see like, are people actually getting notifications or what's happening, because, you know, it can be very hit and miss at times. And then as well, YouTube's not really loving the channel at the moment, in terms of the fact that I had stepped off the gas a bit for a while there recently. And the channel kind of suffered as a result, because, you know, YouTube kind of punishes you when you slow down or take a break or anything like that. It kind of takes you a while to start getting back up there. So that could be another thing. I'm only saying, I'm not trying to say that they're biased or nothing like that, but yeah, it could be a thing like that, where it's just because obviously everyone that's watching videos on the channel, when I'm not posting and you're not watching videos, you're obviously watching other videos and stuff like that. And obviously, if I haven't posted something in a while, obviously when you're seeing those other videos, you're getting suggested stuff or whatever, and that's why maybe notifications. So it may take, you know, a little while, and it may start coming back more normal, if it ever was normal to begin with. Yeah, Russia saying millions upon millions in tourism. Just trying to get down through a few of the comments here. Americans worship celebrities. Yeah, I've never get the thing where people are so interested in celebrities' lives. Like, you know, some things may be interesting, some of the stories and stuff like that, but getting into the, you know, the whole every move they make thing, I've never understood that. Dave saying, Degenerate watch, the nitty gritty stuff is purely to sell tabloids and women's magazines, and often it's most makeup. That's true. And we've actually seen that before, where there's tabloids and stuff came out and they've said stuff that wasn't true, and they've actually been sued before. And then you have the whole thing there in the UK with that that girl Caroline Flack, the presenter. There was a terrible situation there. And I reckon that had a lot to do with the media and the negative stuff that was being said about her and stuff like that. So, you know, it can be dangerous, that stuff, just to sell a couple of papers. Steve Mazur saying that is why Trump is so popular. Americans worship celebrities and success. Trump embodies both. That's the thing too. Yeah, a lot of people could identify with Trump that way, I suppose, in terms of seeing him on TV and stuff like that. Will he make a comeback? Who knows, with this whole documents business going on. So that'll be interesting to see. Joe saying, I think I like the ceremony of royalty, but not the tabloid ammo or tabloid drama. I don't know how I read that as ammo there. Not that, but I suppose it is ammo. It's shots fired, but yeah, ceremony. Yeah, but not the yeah, the drama. Yeah, that's the thing. It's anything to sell some papers or magazines or get a few clicks or likes or whatever. Mammy, we mammies know, Roisin says, and mammy's baby loves shortening bread. Diana was nice, but a wee bit unstable at times. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, she was nice, and then of course that's the thing. She was controversial. That's probably the thing there. Harry wanting to step back from the limelight and hasn't been able to due to his toxic wife. Yeah, it's that's crazy. Yeah, I find that bizarre what went on there. She seems odd to me at times with things that went on. That whole interview with Oprah, like, I don't know what they were thinking. I felt bad for the Queen with all of that. Like, and I don't know. It's bad. I just don't like all that drama. Now I don't know. Hang on there. Yeah, just I lose where. And I don't know if that's another super sticker that Joe has sent there. If it is, thanks for the other super sticker. I'm not sure if I only got down to it because I did mention that a few minutes ago. I don't know if that's the one I got down to there, Joe. I got lost in the comments there, but thanks very much for that. I do appreciate it. Moshe said everyone claims to have Irish ancestors. Yeah, everyone has an uncle from somewhere, or a granddad from somewhere. We're well spread out, I think. And Roshi said she got a notification before the stream. That could have been that post that was going out or something, or just before it started. YouTube's crazy. Yeah, huge contributor to the UK economy. Stacey, I was checking what is live. Yes, oh yes, I know what you mean. I was just trying to figure out. That's because I had asked how people had found the stream. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Some people only came across it, and that's the thing. Not everyone gets notification, but hopefully that does improve. And I will try to let people know. Grim Reaper saying, I follow your channel closely, but I never enable the notifications. And that's down to everyone's personal choice. I know some people, like, I have notifications turned on for some channels that I'm subscribed to, and sometimes it can get a bit annoying at times when some people are posting a few videos, a couple of channels are all posting on the same day or whatever. You can get a lot of notifications, and if you're in the middle of something, you might not want that or whatever. But yeah, no, some people as well don't need to see the video straight away. Whatever, you might kind of come back to the channel after a few days and watch a couple of videos that have been uploaded all together or something. So, each to their own. Stephen Mazur saying, I remember one thing about the Queen. She got up and danced at an ABBA concert when they did Dancing Queen. That's actually good. That's the thing I liked about her. She did seem like she had a bit of a sense of humor, and she was a bit fun, especially that little thing they did with Paddington Bear for her Jubilee. I thought that was very nice. Very good. Grim Reaper. Oh no, I'm sorry, I read that comment there. I'm getting lost here. People talk about moderators there. Yeah, I can't see because the wrenches aren't coming up in here on this. When I'm looking, I know Dave's the moderator there, and Roisin, Rob, I think. Okay, see, I'm getting lost in the comments again. Rob saying, the doggy heard your voice and came downstairs. Tiki thought you were here, pal. Puka says hello. Anyway, hello to Puka out there. And Puka's Rob's little Glenavon Terrier, and he's a lovely little dog. And I can't believe that he actually came downstairs there when he heard me. But I've got his hopes up, and I'm not actually there. But yeah, I hope to see him soon though. I hope he's doing good. We're going down. Joe said, I don't know any Americans that are personally that are celebrity obsessed. Yeah, I don't really know anyone that's exactly celebrity obsessed. I would say I know a few people that like might be interested in celebrity stuff and all, but not to the extreme level. In the USA, Stephen saying, in the USA, celebrities can talk about any subject under the sun, and it's automatically assumed they're big experts on it. Yeah, I don't like that as well. Sometimes when just because a celebrity is endorsing a product doesn't necessarily mean that it's good as such. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and there's some people I suppose out there that will put their name to anything at all. Grim Reaper saying, unfortunately, all I need to do is point to the Kardashians to make the point that we're celebs. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, that was crazy. The show, how people watching the show their whole life and all that. And that's the thing. I seen something somewhere. It was a meme. It said scientists have discovered a new type of caterpillar that eats plastic, and then there was a picture of people like running in fear, and it says Kardashians. You know, so they don't want to get those. Dave saying Trump and Merkel have a lot in common. They have a loose grip on the truth. And he said, choo trade Captain Shiny. Yeah, it's happened again. But yeah, I've been getting sidetracked there, Dave. So the last thing we looked at there was that kidnapping clip. As if it eats plastic, Steven says, if it eats plastic, what does it poop? Good question. Plastic pellets, little plastic pellets. Yeah, I don't know. You'd presume if it had plastic and it pooped plastic, it's still polluting. But I was going to move on to the next clip that I was going to show there. Have a look at that. Sorry there. Now, going to have a look at that. The next clip here that I was going to have a look at is this. I don't know if people have seen this. This kind of, I think it was going a bit viral over on TikTok. I know probably a lot of you have nothing to do with TikTok whatsoever, but I think it was going viral over there. It involves a homeless guy, and we'll take a look at the clip, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. Yeah, we'll just discuss it there afterwards.
Joe Ortega was door dashing last week at the Popeyes off of Ponce. She noticed a man off to the side who looked hungry. When she offered to get him food, this was how employees reacted.
No, ma'am, you can't do it.
Why? He's asking for food.
Ma'am, you can't do it. I don't care nothing about you recording me, baby.
May I have your name so I can let the people know?
You gotta pick up the phone and start recording. So I'm like, this is ridiculous. Are you serious?
Joe Ortega says she was just trying to do a good deed.
I can't order for this homeless man right here who asked for food.
Her initial disbelief that employees wouldn't let her buy a two-piece for the man experiencing homelessness.
They called the cops on me, everything, bro.
Quickly turned into anxiety when the cop showed up.
At that moment, I was terrified. I thought I was going to get arrested. So I was like, well, maybe I should just call my family and tell them I might not be coming home tonight.
APD confirmed that they did respond, but they didn't do anything since Ortega didn't break any laws. She says they actually commended her.
The officer pulled me to the side and was like, I really thank you for doing that. Thank you for buying him food. I appreciate that.
Also grateful that man with the empty stomach caught in the middle of all the drama over drumsticks.
My name's Jazz, and thanks to...
Ortega says she eventually got a hold of a general manager at the store who felt terrible about the whole thing. She said he ended up letting her and Jazz buy anything they wanted that night.
Oftentimes the homeless are treated like stray animals, stray cats. Like if you feed them, they're going to keep coming back. We don't want them to keep coming back. And in all of this, I believe that, people deserve to be treated like people.
And after all the online attention, Popeyes said in a statement to Fox 5 that all of their employees at that store have been retrained on how to talk to guests. Ortega has started an online fundraiser to help Jazz find permanent housing.
So in that clip there, I found that quite bizarre that the restaurant didn't want to serve her. Now, one criticism I'll make of the lady is that I know in a lot of those situations, now, I know the homeless guy there, it didn't look like any objection to being on camera or, obviously he probably knew she was going to post on social media, but sometimes I don't think that's the best thing. Now, in that situation, that lady did seem genuine, but I have seen a lot of those on social media that are, I'm 100% not saying in that situation, but I'm saying there are some of those situations on social media that are engineered as such, to, for clicks and likes, but not in that situation. I don't think there. I think that was genuine. I know there was some criticism in the comments of that video about the lady recording in the first place, but I think she was kind of more so wanting to document what was going on at the restaurant. But I think that's horrible though that they wouldn't serve her in the first place. That's bad. I don't know why they would have that opinion that, like as she was saying, they seem to think they're like, flies or cats or something that once you feed them, they'll keep coming back. I don't think that's the case if you're like not giving out food for free. If you were handing out food for free, then obviously people are going to come back again if they're hungry, like, and expect, or not so much expect, but maybe think you might give them something else. I understand that logic, but at the same time, if someone's willing to buy food for somebody else, I don't see why the person behind the counter there should take it personally. It's different if someone's like, been causing trouble in there and they're barred from being on the premises and they're trying to bring them in there to eat or something. But if someone's ordering at the drive-thru to hand somebody food that's hungry, like that they're trying to help somebody out, then I just don't see why the people behind the counter in there wouldn't just serve her, because there's no skin off their back. Like, it's at the end of the day, as far as they're concerned, it's money in the till, it's a product sold. Like, it's the personal opinion shouldn't come into it in that respect. Like, then to call the police on her, it's a bit ridiculous, like a waste of police time. And I like the fact that the police commended the woman for actually doing something nice, but I didn't like the fact that when they spoke to the manager of Popeyes, he said he'd allowed him to buy anything they liked. I would have thought, now maybe that was just a figure of speech by the guy, the way it was described. Now maybe I like to think that they were given complimentary food after that whole thing, but they were saying that the staff are going to be retrained on how to talk to the public. They also should be retrained in how to, when they're in a service job like that and they're being paid to serve food, that need to leave their opinions about people, like, outside of work. Like, they're being paid to serve customers. They're not being paid to critique people on why they're buying the food and stuff like that. I just don't like that whole thing. And Roisin saying there, she seemed genuine. I think she was genuine, 100%. And she's saying, I wouldn't have told them why I was buying a two-piece. And I think that was the mistake there. Maybe now, perhaps the ladies behind the counter or somebody in there seeing her conversating with this guy, or if you look at the clip when she turns the camera around, he's standing on the other side, so maybe they seen him and then that's why they were doing that. But yeah, I would have just, like, if that was the case, and maybe if anybody out there, I know this shouldn't be a thing you have to do, but if anyone out there is ever thinking of doing that, kind of have that in mind, maybe to if it is a place maybe that's known for that, or you're getting that vibe that they mightn't be accommodating, maybe keep it low key. I know it shouldn't be like that. You should be able to just walk up. Like I know, saying stories of people where they've actually like went into the place, sat down with the person, had a meal with them, had a chat to them, and that's sometimes all somebody really needs. It gives them a bit of interaction for the day. It makes them feel like, and I'm not trying to be condescending when I say this or nothing like that. I'm just saying that it makes the person feel when I say like that, they're not being looked down upon, that somebody will sit down and they'll have something to eat with them, and they're not judging them, and they might want to find out about their story. Like somebody actually cares. You know what I mean? So like that's a nice thing to do. And hopefully like the police had a bit of a go at the staff for wasting their time. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, that's another knock-on effect of that, is that the next time they ring the police, maybe they won't be as quick responding, because they're like, oh, that place is they rang us before over nothing, so that's another thing you have to, it's like the boy who cried wolf. That's a bit crazy. I don't know why that happens. I've seen that happening a few times, where they won't serve homeless people, or they won't serve people that want to buy stuff for homeless people. Just on the subject of food and like restaurants and stuff, there's a chain of restaurants, I suppose, kind of supermarket / delis in Ireland, called Fresh. And they've been in the paper just the other day because they've put up a sign in, I think it's one of their Dublin branches. I'm not sure if it's all their Dublin branches, but some of their Dublin branches, or one of their Dublin branches, saying that people in construction wear, like, work boots, work pants, people that have come off building sites and stuff like that, aren't welcome to sit down in the seating area, because they want to keep the area clean for other people. Now, I have a problem with that, in the fact that somebody in the comments of that news article actually mentioned that they've seen people dressed in suits and ties leave the place in a worse state than builders, right? Because, builders obviously clean it up after the job, on site, whereas some of these people, I suppose, that are working in the office, might be a cleaner coming in the evening, so they don't have to really worry about that, perhaps. But they're saying some of these people actually leave the place worse than these builders. Now, I see a boycott of that place happening in terms of the builders in the area. Now, if it's some of the Fresh stores in the city centre, big problem, because a lot of building work going on, and those people might want to have to sit down, in the to have their lunch, like, and that might be why they're actually choosing to go to that place. Now, here's the thing. If they're paying for a meal, right, and they're sitting down to enjoy it there, like, it doesn't matter if a bit of plaster or dirt or muck falls off. And I know that, I understand the point that the cafe is trying to make, that they don't want them probably sitting on the chairs and messing the chairs. Maybe the chairs are hard to clean, but then here's the situation: if the chairs are like fabric chairs that are hard to clean or something, you need to get chairs. You need to adapt to that. What's the point of alienating a whole group of customers for the sake of a chair, like a clean chair? Or like, is it a thing to do with staff numbers, that they don't have enough staff there to be cleaning this? I don't know. I just thought it was quite bizarre. You're kind of you're cutting off a lot of your customer base there. Hello to White Stang, 67. White Stang is after joining us there, saying love your channel and accent. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. They begin saying hopefully they didn't serve cold fries. Yeah, hopefully not. There would have been absolute trouble in there. Yeah, definitely not. That seems to be a no-no these days, especially it always turns out that the people as well end up being some sort of felons. Yeah, crazy. Nice. And White Stang saying you heard about that too. I think that's about the fries, is it? Yeah, Roshi said cut off their nose despite their face. See, that's the thing. Like, some of these things are a knee-jerk reaction, and they're not actually. Have they actually crunch the numbers on how many people are actually workmen, builders coming into this place and eating. Like when a couple of boys go back to the site and tell everyone else, you know, we were in that place earlier, we got shifted out of it because, you know, we were dirty. Like, you know, they're not going to go down there to go somewhere else. Like, you know, and it's not like there's a shortage of other places to go. Now, it mightn't be the same as that particular place, but, you know, if you some people, like, you know, people will vote with their feet in that sense, and that may come back to bite. I'm sure it's already creating controversy in the paper. Like, it's not getting good publicity, and, you know, any company that does something like that, it gets in the paper and they're having to come out and defend it. They're already on the back foot, I suppose. Yeah, Dave said we were talking about it previously, and a previous live, and we actually did a video. There's a link down below in a nice little shameless plug. There's a link down below in the description of this live stream to that. I think it's down under cold fries. There's actually a link to our most recent videos there for anyone that hasn't seen some of them. The comments just jumped on me there. Roshan saying, hire a cleaner. Yeah, that's what they need to do. Like, they're gonna probably lose out on some business there. The thing is that, like, builders and all are probably going in there 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week, because some of them are probably doing some overtime on Saturdays. Roger said we have no accent. What are you going on about? Yeah, yeah, definitely no accent here. That's actually, there's been a few comments just what I was saying about accent and me being from Ireland. There's been a few criticisms in the comments of some of the videos that I've watched, or not watched, sorry, that I've made. Can't remember exactly what videos off the top of my head, but someone was saying in the comments, I get this a fair bit, like saying, you're from Ireland, why are you commenting on law enforcement in the United States? Something along the lines. This was one of the comments. I'm just roughly, it's not verbatim or nothing, but something like, why are you commenting on experiences with U.S. law enforcement when you've never had an experience with U.S. law enforcement? Why don't you talk about something in your own country? And I was saying, that's one video that person's clicked on, you know. And if you actually look back through some of the other videos on the channel, you'd see that there has been video featuring the guards from here in Ireland, and there's been UK videos. So, like, obviously you haven't looked through it. So they've just clicked on that video and made this assumption or whatever. And also the fact that, you know, like, they haven't, like, I don't see, the thing is that, like, just because you're from a certain place doesn't mean you can't have an opinion or you can't comment or talk about something that's going on somewhere else. So I just don't, I think that's quite bizarre when people say that. But there's a bit of an argument going on in the comments there about accents. People, Roshin is denying there's any accent, and Piggy Seven White Stang is saying, I love listening to everyone's accent. I think it's so cool. There's a lot of different accents. Roger said we have no accent in Ireland. I don't. Well, the stereotypical accent that you see in cartoons, I think I mentioned this before. That does not exist. That you know, that sort of leprechaun, and nobody says top of the morning to you. Like, I don't go out and see the neighbor in the garden in the morning and go top of the morning to you. You know, it's not quite, I don't know where that comes out. Maybe that was said years ago. I've never said that to anybody. You're usually saying it's a cold morning. You wouldn't be top of anything in the morning, especially in the winter over here. David is saying our lack of accent is like our lack of being put on some world maps. And she's saying I can comment dual citizenship. Well, that's interesting. Now, I don't know. I don't think Roisin was being mean there. I think she was just having a bit of a laugh there. Um, um, and then Joe said, "I agree with you." And then we said, "I actually enjoy your Garda vids." Yeah, I have another one. That was one of the videos I was going to try play the last time in the live stream, but obviously it didn't work out. One of a guy during the lockdown, but I'm gonna make a video on that and just post it as a normal video. So I'll be doing that soon. But I will have some more Garda videos coming up. And Joe said I cringe when I hear top of the morning. Yeah, me too. It's just it's I don't know why that's the thing. Like nobody says that. Like it's I just don't know. Martin Fathers says, being a viewer from Australia, why shouldn't you produce material from anywhere in the world? If it's interesting, keep up the great work, Degenerate. And thanks very much for that. And that's the thing, like, like people are interested in different things. And like, here's the thing, like if let's say if everybody that commented on the frauditors, like First Amendment auditors or whatever, was only an American citizen, like you're gonna get the same. I'm not saying everyone's view is the same, but like it's an American viewpoint on it, if you know what I mean. So like I'm doing it, and you're kind of getting like my opinion from it. Like the whole culture here, the way the law is and all is completely different. So obviously when I see things like the whole thing with there being so many weapons around, the police being armed is kind of different for me. So when I see stuff like that, so you can kind of have a different interpretation of different things that happen. So even let's say if I cover a video about a particular thing or whatever, and you may watch it on a different channel, someone else might cover something like that. Well, even though it may be the same clip, body cam, whatever that you're looking at, you may get a different opinion, or perhaps someone else might spot something that I didn't spot in it, or one of their viewers may spot something to bring it up in the comments, because that's happened here a few times with like someone will say something in the comments and I'll be like, oh, I don't know how I didn't notice that, or I didn't see that, or when people give you a different way of looking at things, you kind of say, well, I never thought of it that way. But yeah, and thanks for that comment, Martin. White Stag said, geez, what did I start? It's good to get discussion going. And it's just a bit of a laugh there, I suppose. I suppose the Irish can have a bit of a dry sense of humor at times. And Roshan said we do have fairy forts and circles. Those can be quite frightening. True, our fairy doors. That's a thing. Fairy doors are appearing all over every forest that I seem to visit. Or any tree. They're nice though. Their fairy doors are nice. They brighten everything up. I suppose do no harm. Yeah, but I've never come across a real fairy or a leprechaun. But yeah. Oh, that's interesting, Roisin. Roisin says she has a fairy circle in one of the fields. And is there anything like unusual about, like, have you ever like noticed anything like that? That's just interesting, like stuff like that. Like some of the old folklore and stuff like that's quite interesting. Yeah, there's actually a few people as well I've noticed have built businesses around the whole thing, and not just tours and stuff like that, but the terms like these fairy doors and stuff like that. It is kind of a thing. Fairy door thing has become very popular over the last few years. 67 White Stang is saying, yes, I'm Irish, and people say I'm a smart arse, but yes, my humor. And sometimes it can come across like that, or sarcastic at times. Like, I know Irish people can be like that sometimes with sarcasm. I find it interesting as well, with with the interaction people with different humors and all. It can be fun, like. And Roshan said it's an old Neolithic site, and the animals don't go near it. That's interesting, though, and it's crazy when you say that about the animals as well. You do notice that a lot with animals. It seems like animals can sense things. I've often found that odd. With animals, like even in terms of like likes of pigeons being able to find their way back, racing pigeons and stuff like that. I just find it very interesting the way the animal seems to have a much more heightened sense of what's going on in the world around them, if you know what I mean, in terms of that. Like, do you ever see those things where there's tornadoes and big storms and the animals get a bit, what would you say, edgy before it? Like, they're very anxious, and you can tell in the animal that, and you can kind of tell that there's something coming. Like, it's fascinating how animals are so in touch with things. And Stephen Mazur saying, thank you, nice show. No, thank you, Stephen. Thanks for coming. It's great to have a few people here watching. And I'm glad I kind of did the stream a bit earlier. The last one I did, it was just because it was the end. I can't even remember what time I started, but it was fairly late. There was a few of you guys here for it, but it was kind of late. I was hoping to do it a bit earlier because, there's because YouTube kind of tells you when more people are online, and it was kind of saying, around, I think, time for my channel is kind of saying from like 6 in the evening. This Irish time, like from like 6 in the evening till about 1, 2 in the morning is kind of when the majority of people are online. So I think the time zones kind of mixed in. I know sometimes when it's like 6 o'clock here, I think it's like Central Standard Time over there. It's about I'm actually not sure. I know it's something like 6 hours behind or something like that. So I'm saying it's kind of sometimes the time zone, it's not too bad with the time zones, but and then Roshan saying a few Ogham stones as well. And that's cool as well to have those, because that's going way back. They're very interesting, and that's a very old type of writing on those. That's very interesting. It's nice to have those things close by, like white 6-7 white stang saying oh yeah, animals sense a lot of what's to come, and yeah, that's it. Like, it's crazy how much, like, and that's what I think is that, like, I don't know what way we've evolved or whatever, but the animals seem to are more in tune of a lot with nature. You know what I mean? We have that sort of detachment from it, I suppose. It's Dave McGill said earthquakes, birds sense them. It is. It's bizarre, like, And Roger said East Coast is 5 hours. And so it's 8:37 or 8:37, 8:38 where Joe is in DC. So yeah, and see, that's not too bad. So that's like that's still at in the evening. What time is it where you are, Dave? And hello to Chuck there, who's after joining us. Joe Fitz said, you Irish are vampires, never rest. Yeah, I don't know. I used to work nights for about, I'd say, nearly 10 years, and it was a lot of night work. It used to, the shifts it used to be these 4 on 4 off 12-hour shifts, and then there was also, like, I think it was once every 3 weeks you used to work night shifts, but it was a morning, evening, and night shift. But like, that really messed me up in terms of sleep. Found it very hard, since it was a long time since I've done that sort of work, and I still find it very hard to go to sleep at a reasonable time. It really does mess you up. And an uncle of mine actually told me, if you can do whatever you can, I know it's hard, and I know some people out there watching even maybe doing shift work and all that, but if you can ever get off shift work and try get kind of regular hours, it's much better, obviously, for your health. When he retired, whatever company he worked for, when they were doing, I think they got early retirement because I think the company was shutting down or whatever, they all got like sort of a nurse or some sort of medical person came to them, because, they were going to be out of work for a long time, and they were having to adjust, because a lot of them were like near retired age anyway. So these people were meeting with him, and they were just saying to them that, you know, after all the shift work that they did over the years, that they were trying to ascertain how many of them had kind of health conditions. And a lot of the people were complaining about stuff like insomnia and all that, you know. Well, you know, not so much insomnia, but, you know, broken sleep, trying to sleep and stuff like that. It's just you know, shift work can be tough. And Roisin works on a farm, and she's saying it's just an 80 to 90 hour work week, which is phenomenal hours, because I suppose on a farm you're never really, and if you're living on the farm, especially, like, it's different if you're like a farm, a helper or a contractor or something. But if you're living on the farm and you're working on your own farm, you're never off work. I suppose you're constantly, there's always something to do. I'm not speaking from experience. I'm not a farmer or anything, but I'm saying that that's what it would seem, that, you know, there's always something to be done. It's very, like, demanding, obviously. Like, that'd obviously probably be tougher than shift work, because, you know, I could call in sick if I was having a bad day. I suppose a farm, like, you know, depending on you, if I called in sick, someone else would do my job. But and this 67 White Stang is saying 6:37 Mountain Time. I think is that where does that cover exactly? I find it hard with some of the times, and that's why I put up, when I'm putting up a US time zone, I always put up Central Standard Time, just because I kind of say the middle of the country. I kind of give people a rough idea either side. Maybe that was just my thinking. I kind of roughly, now I could be wrong here with my geography, but I kind of roughly got, you know, said Texas is kind of in the middle somewhere there, you know, in terms of time zone ish. So I was kind of going by that. Can be a bit confusing, but well, for me anyway, it's different when you live over there. I suppose you're used to it. But Dave McGinnis saying, White Stang, I'm in front of you. Yeah, it's bad. Some of us are ahead and behind. White Stang's in Idaho. Very interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure where Mountain Time covered, but it's interesting to kind of have a reference there. And Russia's in 24/7 plus side job. Yeah, that's it. That's crazy. I don't get sick days or bank holidays, and as you say, you don't get bank holidays because you don't work in a bank. So yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you know, you can't take time off when you have a lot of stuff to do. Dave again is saying, my cat is trying to push me out of my bed currently. So that's the thing with cats. Cats just do what they want, and that's it. You know, actually, I seen a lovely cat today. There's a viewer of the channel actually on Instagram had a picture of their cat. It was Princess Toadstool. It was a beautiful picture of the cat's face. The cat was lovely. And I can't recall the cat's name now, as which is kind of, it's a shame now, but yeah, lovely cat. I think it began with a P anyway, but lovely, beautiful cat. So Princess Toadstool's watching. I really like your cat. It says 67 White Stag says, I'm from a little lake town, a farming town. Yes, farmers need more respect. They work their butts off, and that's the thing we're going to see very shortly, that you know, we're going to be dependent on farmers, because, you know, they're talking about shortages of food and stuff, like, with the price of everything going up. You know, it's the farmers that are out doing the work. Obviously, if the price of their cost of living goes up, and the diesel and everything else, they have to charge more, and, you know, it's having knock-on. So they shouldn't be vilified as the cause of the problem, and the same, they shouldn't be exactly vilified as people that are, like, I see the, well, here in Ireland it seems like they're being painted as boogeymen for climate change, from the cows to the diesel and stuff. I mentioned that earlier in the stream there. It's just it's, you know, it's bad. Like, and if the farmers stop, the ingredients stop, you know, some of these, and, you know, with farmers that do livestock for meat and dairy and stuff like that, you know, the supply chain will fall apart. Like, so that's what I'm saying. The farmers need to be looked after, because the farmers are pivotal, I suppose, in producing food. Like, so yeah, and there's another thing as well. I seen where they're talking there about people growing about farmers growing clover in their fields instead of standard grass. In terms of, I've been looking at that there lately, where they're saying that clover's better for the environment, in terms of, they're saying it's something to do with nitrogen. It allows more nitrogen to go into the soil, therefore the soil is better. It's a better soil, the soil is more nutrients in it or something like that. And they're saying that the clover takes in more carbon from the atmosphere than standard grass, like, so I think there's an incentive at the moment for farmers to plant clover, which I found very interesting. I never really thought of clover, and I see Roshan's just saying clover replaces nitrogen. Yeah, and that's what they were saying. I think it's to do with it can help, like, I suppose if you were to plant clover, I don't know if this is a thing, but if you were to plant clover in a field, instead of fertilizing the field, to make maybe fields that the soil isn't great, I don't know if it helped the soil in that field, but you're saying there, we do clover when resting a field, to kind of, as I suppose, for lack of a better term, recharge the soil, I suppose, better than probably putting fertilizer on it or whatever. Roisin saying as well there, yet everyone wants meat, veg, barley, and dairy, and that's the thing. And David saying, but the greenies want us to go meat free, and that's very interesting there. I'll see if I can actually pull this up. I saved an article there. I'll share it on the screen there. It's I'll just find it here on the computer. They were saying there that they've said that they want us to go meat free. Now, I myself eat meat, like, and I have nothing against anyone that's a vegan or that's doesn't like eating meat or whatever. But I'm just typing this in. That's why I'm getting distracted here for a second. And I'll be right back with you guys there when I just let's go look for this article here, and then but anyway, yeah. Sorry, just bear with me for a second. Yeah, I was actually looking for an article, and I've ended up on the website of Sigma Aldrich for some reason. But while I'm ironing out this difficulty over here, yeah, sorry, just bear with me for a second while I find this article. I should have had it up already, but yeah. So what Dave said there about people, the thing about, I have no problem with people being, environmentally minded and being, vegan, vegetarian, whatever. That's totally up to whatever anybody wants to do. But the one thing I don't agree with, and I don't think these people are doing themselves any favor, is when they do things like the thing I'm going to show you here now. Recently in the UK, some of these people, now I don't know, I'm not familiar with the group. Animal Rebellion, I believe they're called. I'll pop it up in the stream there now. Animal Rebellion, they're called protesters. And they were blocking the milk aisle in supermarkets in England. And actually, some of them went into, I don't know if some of you are familiar with Harrods. It's a big department store in, it's a very expensive department store in the UK, in London. They actually went into Harrods and they were smashing bottles of milk, pouring them out onto the floor, which is a waste, obviously, which I don't see the sense in that. But I'm just adding this into the stream there. So we can have a look at that. And then I'll catch up on some comments as well. Then just after that there, when I pop this in. But yeah, these guys were blocking the milk aisles in the supermarket. So anybody that was coming in to get their cartons of milk or whatever, they weren't being allowed. Well, I don't know if they weren't being allowed or people were probably just reaching over them. But I don't think these people are doing themselves any favors by doing that to people, because they're not going to gain the support of the general Yeah, sorry about that there, guys. Am I back? Can you hear me there? Don't know what happened there. Internet had a bit of a moment. Either that or we may get the tinfoil out again, because I think it could have been the fact we were talking about these climate people here or something there a second ago. Oh, now I've missed a lot of chats here. Now, White Stang saying, I'll get through some of these real quick, saying, my little town farmers are selling their land because they just can't get the money they deserve. It's so sad and frustrating. And that's sad. That is bad. And it's sad for people that have had that in their family for years and they're having to give it up or something like that. Yeah, so that is devastating, especially probably because of the costs of things now. Then again, saying we're producing methane, reducing free grasses. Very good. Housing developments are replaced. If you see, that's the thing as well, a lot of development. We need to make sure that we're keeping green area stuff and planting more trees as well, because I see that a lot. I was looking at a thing the other day about almond milk, right? Obviously, almonds have to be grown. And they're saying that now what's happening in some parts of like places in South America near the Amazon, they're actually tearing down rainforests to grow almonds to produce milk. So as demand for almond milk and these plant-based milks, the plants have to be grown somewhere, and they're going to go for these places to buy. These big companies are going to want to buy cheap land in places. So they go down to countries like that and to buy up this land and that's bad for the environment as well. So I'm only saying, if you look at that, if the company, like let's say you're buying almond milk for the environmental side of it, you're saying, well, I don't agree with cow's milk, blah blah blah, whatever, right? It could be a case where it's that if that company has been tearing down the rainforest to grow almonds in a field, then that's not really helping the environment as such, like, you know. And they're saying that Amazon could be actually at a tipping point at the moment where you know, it might not recover to the levels that it should be. We're getting down there, and then David gonna send choo choo. Yeah, that's a standing joke here about me losing my train of thought. So anytime Dave says that, the train has left the station. I'll admit there, it happened there. I did get distracted when I was doing that, trying to get that article up. I think that's what crashed the whole setup here. It's very, I feel, I'm sorry, but just when I say that about shutting down the stream, I feel very clandestine there, like I'm in some grubby basement here, you know, and doing some you know, stream that is trying to be shut down. I feel like what's his name, Alex Jones, back in the day, where he was always saying they're trying to shut us down, and you know, and he was saying that's why. Check the link down below in the description for my new super subscriber pill, where you can, like, you know, it cures everything that's wrong with you, and you have to buy that to keep us running here, because if you don't, they're going to shut us down, like, and then I won't be able to continue my message, like. So yeah, I feel like that's happening here when we're getting shut down. Ross and our dairy cows are living their best life, and that's the thing, like, you know, I don't like the way that's been vilified all the time, you know, about cows all the time, that they want to say like the cows are polluting an awful lot, and yeah, obviously if cows are emitting gas or whatever, but, like, you know, the big problems here aren't being looked at. Like, it doesn't matter, like, you know, if they're gonna reduce the number of cows here, like, you know, that'd have to be being done across the board in every country, everywhere, you know, to make this impact that they want. It's not a few here, a few there. That's why I'm saying, like, a lot of these things that they're talking about, especially with, like, pushing the electric cars and stuff like that, we're not at the level yet where it's actually properly green, like. And like a lot of this, I think, like, you know, I'm not saying climate change or global warming or any of this. I'm not saying any of that is, like, true, false, anything. Like, there is stuff happening. There is, you know, that is. But what I'm saying is, what's going on at the moment is there's a bit of a money grab going on out there, with, like, the electric cars, the, you know, getting your home, you know, all eco-friendly, buying all these products, because most of the products that are, like, eco-friendly, or products that are more, like, you know, like the vegetarian, vegan products, they're always more expensive, and it's like, yeah, the vegan thing was being talked about before, I think, where they were saying it was more about the cruelty side to animals, the more animal welfare, about, you know, people's feelings about animals. But I think now climate thing has jumped on that wagon, and the two of them are on the same wagon, and it's kind of, it works for both sides, because it's profitable for, you know, it's just, it's weird that there's a lot of money floating around and all of this now, and you know. And yeah, Dave said Degenerate gets distracted by shiny things and loses his train of thought, and that's why I have the curtains pulled in here, because not only to stop the surveillance, like, that's clearly going on outside, because, you know, we're under surveillance, like, but you know, to stop my distractions, because if a car goes by outside, that's just it, like, we could be completely sidetracked. White Stang saying I couldn't be a farmer because all my animals would be my friends, and that's the thing. Yeah, I'd probably get too sentimentally attached to the animals, and I wouldn't like to see them going off to market or anything like that. But I suppose if you had a farm that was growing crops, I suppose you could have a few animals like chickens and stuff like that you were having for eggs or whatever. Like, so you could still enjoy the animals, but not, you know, if you felt that way, like. I am Poster 7 says, thank you for joining us, and I'm watching a bunch of methane now, Florida versus Kentucky. Who's winning there? Who are you rooting for in that? And how are they doing? Joe is saying, I don't think that they will win Hearts and Minds this way. No, exactly, Joe. That's what I was saying. They're definitely not going to win anyone over by blocking people and all. It's down to choice. The only way you're going to do it is by people choosing to do it themselves. You're not going to get people to just because somebody's telling you to do something, you're going to do it. Like, do you know what I mean? And blocking people is just ridiculous. Like from doing it, like there was even people commenting under some of those articles saying that like they live in a house where some people are vegan, some people drink milk. They just buy both, and they don't tell the other people, well, you should do this or you should do that. They just get on with it, like, you know. And if that's the only way it's going to happen. People are just going to have to make the choice themselves. And like I have been making, like, you know, more conscious decisions. No, I wouldn't say like on a crazy scale and all, but you know, when you're buying certain things, like in terms of food waste, like thinking, do I actually need to buy this thing, or am I going to end up throwing it out? Like, am I going to eat it before it expires? Like, there's stuff like that, because I had found that I was brutal for stuff like that when it comes to wasting food, like, and letting stuff go out of date and all, like. And Dave said, no, they only piss people off by their antics, and that's true. Especially those climate people that were blocking the roads, and there was people going to hospital appointments, job interviews and stuff like that, and they couldn't get to where they were going because these people wanted to sit in the road and said, but they don't realize that most of the cars sitting there were probably idling anyway. So they were just wasting a lot of fuel. And anyway, when they all got up off the road eventually and were moved on, every single vehicle that was going on a journey continued on the journey they were already going on, albeit late and haven't been idling on a motorway for hours. So I don't really understand how that was helping the planet at all, when, you know, they were just it's bizarre, like the logic in that. But 67 White Stag said, I'm Oregon Ducks, go Ducks. Oh no, Dave has, don't tell me this stream has stopped again. Is it still going there? Or Dave, sorry. That was from a few minutes ago. I'm way up in the comments here. I'm just going to slide down. Just making sure I don't miss anyone that's yeah, they thought they've kidnapped me. Oh no, I'm way up at the almond milk comments, guys. I'm very sorry. I'm way behind here. They don't have nipples so they can't be milked. That's a good one, Dave. Yeah, how can you get milk from an almond? I think they have wee nipples. Homies. Oh, they were talking about Alex. Yeah, that just when we were talking about Alex there, that was mad, that whole lawsuit. Just sorry, Roisin. I'm just after reading Roisin's comment in Father Jack's accent when she says that Alex Jones, is that gobshite still on the television? It's like Father Jack says. I don't know who it was on the TV, but he says, I think it was Dougal or something. Dougal had the TV over his head, and he was like, "How did that gobshite get on the television?" Yeah, I think he's been removed from all social media. I think he's just literally on his own website now, and being sued heavily. So he could lose all that, actually. Yeah, Dave saying, careful, you're living in your mother's basement again. Yeah, I'm back in my mother's basement. I only temporarily, obviously, because it's only because of the surveillance, you know. As I said, like, you know, it's tough, like, it's the very tip of the almond. Yeah, there's a it's like an iceberg. There's a lot more under the surface. Yeah, and that's the thing. Roger said about arguments about how cows are abused. I think a lot of things, if you have to do your research and look at these, when you see these sensational headlines, you have to look into it and see what the truth is behind it. Because, you know, yeah, did you see that thing, actually, now that you're saying that, Roisin, about all the cows that were found dead down in Limerick there? Recently in the news there, and of course that was the thing that came out then. They were saying about people abusing cows and all that or whatever, but I don't know in that case what the story is. I know there's investigation going on down there with that, but yeah, in general, like what you're saying is that there's a kind of an opinion out there that of animals are being mistreated. I'd say the majority of farmers out there care not only for the welfare of their animals. You know what I mean? Like, after all, like, if you want to boil it down to it, if a farmer has livestock there and that they are his business, like, so why would you? It's like someone having a bus company and every morning going out and like breaking the bus up with a baseball bat. Like, why would you do that? Like, as in, why would somebody that's paid for a cow, that's invested money in a cow, that's raised a cow, and obviously that cares for the animals, why would you? Yeah, exactly. You have to look more into those accusations and stuff. Just going to scroll down a bit through the comments because I'm very far up. Right, I've caught up down to the bottom there. Yeah, abused animals are not profitable. See, that's the thing. Yeah, and abused cows don't give milk. Yeah, it's just the thing they're talking about. Why would someone invest their time, money, and everything into that's their livelihood, that's their business? Like, why? Like, I just don't understand that. And the thing is, with the fuel crisis and all, with the price of things and all, the government do need to support farmers a bit more, because like, it's farmers that are producing the food. And Roshi says that would be an ecumenical matter. I love that episode. That's probably one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, it probably is one of my favorite episodes. I like that episode, The Mainland, as well, where they actually leave the island and go onto the mainland, and it's the one where Father Jack gets his glasses stolen. I think he's got into the opticians, and that's just a classic episode. I think that's the one with the caves with Richard Wilson's in that. I don't believe it guy. That's a brilliant. That's a great episode. Father Ted, yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. White 67 White Stag says people that abuse any animal suck. Exactly. You see some horrible stories out there, and I don't know how people can do that to some animals. Like, it's crazy. Like, and I noticed there, I see a lot. There's an awful lot of animals being surrendered now, because I'm talking about domestic pets and stuff like that, because a lot of people ran out, as the same as always. It was the thing to do in some cases, was to run out and get a pet during lockdown, because a lot of people were at home working from home, and of course when everyone returned to the office, they couldn't look after the pets, or they were coming home and the pets had chewed the place to bits, so couldn't look after it. So a lot of pets are being surrendered, and which is unfortunate. And it's the same at Christmas when people get pets and stuff like that, and it's just it's sad to see. Yeah, Russia and SGS contracts have to supply milk, barley, etc. have to be agreed upon amount, and that's the thing, Russia. And if I'm just saying, if you were to like abuse the cows, they're not going to give milk. You're not going to be able to meet your quotas. That's why it's important that, like, the welfare of the cows, and not only that, the equipment and everything like that is above board, like, because otherwise you're not going to be able to like get paid, and in turn not be able to like live as such. The very dark caves, yeah, it's almost like being blind. Yeah. that was hilarious, that episode. I that's why I love the humor in some of the things. And that guy that was always sitting down there at the ferry, I wouldn't say terminal, it's not, there weren't that advanced on Craggy Island, at the dock, I suppose you'd say. He was sitting there with a t-shirt, I shot JR all the time. Joe Fitz saying local shelters begged us to adopt, so I adopted Squeak. That's very nice, and that's nice. I think a lot of people should, if they're considering getting a pet, consider adopting a pet, because there is a stigma out there where people think that pets at the shelters, because I've heard people say this before, pets at the shelter are all wild and they're obviously neglected. Now that's not the case. A lot of those dogs, like the second you'll get them home, you know, it's not that there's a whole stigma, I think, around that with gender, and that needs to change, because people should be adopting, because there's so many dogs that are in these shelters, like it's crazy. And they've given us exactly, pets are not gifts, they're for life. And that's true. Like, you know, people need to stop kind of treating them as like just an object. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Graham Norton. Yeah, I actually, when we look back on most of those episodes, there was some classic people in those episodes. You had Graham Norton, Brendan Grace, who passed away. You have Tommy Tiernan. I think he kind of started off in that. There's probably more that I'm not forgetting. Was it was Now maybe I'm getting this wrong. The guy that was in Ballykissangel, you know, Neil Tobin, was he in that, like, an episode or two of that? Now maybe I'm confusing him because he was played a priest in Ballykissangel, so maybe maybe there's a crossover of an episode of Ballykissangel and Father Tender that I've made up in my head there. But oh yeah, Father Noel Furlong, the guy that was so annoying that anytime he showed up. Yeah, anybody out there that's never seen Father Ted, definitely look up some clips of it. If it's about these, if you don't know what it is, about these three priests, Irish priests that live on an island off the west coast of Ireland, and they're the three priests of that parish, and they're one of them's a very unsavory alcoholic gentleman. The other is a kind of dim-witted, kind of doofus sort of a guy, and then the main guy, Father Ted himself, he's kind of the brains of the operation, but he's always getting into binds, and he's always having mishaps and stuff. Like, it's quite hilarious, like, you know. But very good though. 67 White Stang is saying all my 6 dogs and cats are rescued. That's very good, and plenty of animals in that household. So that keep you busy there. That's nice though. Devin Guinness has good taste then. I missed that comment there. Tram turned up at my door and moved in. Oh yeah. See, I didn't know what was going on there. I thought that was supposed to be drama, so I was like, oh, is there drama popping off there or something? Yeah, full episodes on YouTube there of Father Ted if anyone's interested there. Yeah, I think it's replayed sometimes, Dave, but it's definitely on YouTube there. There's clips in Roshi was saying there's full episodes as well, but that's definitely something to look at. And then another Irish thing that a lot of people talk about is Ballykissangel, which was that's not a comedy now. There was a few bits in it that were kind of funny. It's more of a soap opera type thing. Yeah, if you want to call it that, filmed in Avoca in County Wicklow. Not really too far away from where I am myself. And yeah, I've been there a couple of times. Interesting, you know, something you've seen on TV and you're actually standing there. But yeah, actually, what I'll do is, if anyone that looks at my blog over on Coffee, there's a link to that down below in the description. I'll actually do a post on Avoca sometime where Ballykissangel was shot, and I'll put up a few photographs that I took when I was there. Yeah, and do something like that. And if I'm there again, I might take some video while I'm there and have a look there. There's actually a pretty nice church there, very interesting building. Even if you're not, you know, religious or anything like that, the church there is very nice. It's very nice inside. Nice little town, small river going through it. The Avoca River. Yeah, it's nice to go to and see a nice little village. Obviously, like I'd say, it was a big change for them when the filming stopped there. But still gets quite a bit of tourism from people going to see where it was all filmed. I don't know, she's saying the money was just resting in my account, and that was a line Father Ted used to always use anytime that higher ups higher ups like the bishop or anything like that was asking where money had gone, or when they were running anything. That episode where they have a car, remember, they get a car to give away as a raffle prize, and they put a tiny dent in it, and they end up he ends up trying to hammer the dent out, but he ends up mangling the car beyond all recognition. And oh, that's hilarious. And they're supposed to get, they're already getting a lend of the car because they were going to rig the raffle that they won, and they kept announcing at the, I think at the raffle at the start of it, they said Ted got up on stage and said, funny enough, we were at a raffle a couple of years back, and the people that were running the raffle actually won it. Isn't that funny? You know, they're just setting it up for them to win it. Like, but yeah, it was very, yeah, it's hilarious. No, Dave, it's not still going. Probably repeating it. The guy that played Father Ted in it, he actually passed away. Yeah, he actually passed away a number of years ago. Dermot Morgan was his name. But the guy that plays Father Jack, I don't know if he passed away. I think, oh, he did pass away. Frank, I want to say Frank Kelly. Maybe I'm wrong there. But Ardlo Handlin is the guy that plays Dougal. He's still on the go. He's actually doing a TV show at the moment to do with I think it's a TV show or it's some sort of a video series where he's going around with some GAA players and interviewing them or something like that. That's what he's doing at the moment. 67 White Stang says, my dream is to go to Dublin where my great-great-grandparents are from, the McFarlanes. Very interesting. Do you happen to know whereabouts in Dublin they came from or anything like that? That'd be interesting to go to, even to just visit Dublin, have a look around and see the place and all. Yeah, there's a lot to see there. Yeah. Yeah, we'd moved on to Ballycus Angel. All of my four, Joe Fitz says, all of my four grandparents are from Ireland and I want to go there to see a pub fight turn into a musical. I don't know, it might be the other way, Joe. I think there might be a musical and then it'll end up in a fight outside afterwards when people have a bit too much to drink. But yeah, could get messy. Depending, you could find a nice pub where, you know, it's a bit more civilized, but yeah. Just said they immigrated to Ellis Island, New York. Yeah, a journey that I suppose a lot of Irish immigrants made back then. Yeah, very interesting as well. And do you know what? If you ever do get to visit Dublin, 67 White Stang, a good place to go to is there's a museum in Dublin down on the quay. It's down at towards the Docklands. You'd find it obviously easy if you Google it. It's called Epic. And it's all about the history of the famine and all of that sort of stuff. So it's the Famine Museum. So that'll be a very interesting one to go see. And you'll actually learn more about the journey that your ancestors would have taken. You know, so it's a great place to go visit. As anyone that does visit Dublin, it's a good place to go have a look at. And then of course around Ireland, in some places we have some old ships. To do with like famine times and stuff like that you can go visit. I'm pretty sure they're still open to visit and stuff like that. So yeah. Roshi saying if two Irish people meet and we don't find someone we know in common, we die. And that's true. It's like you mustn't be Irish in that case. See, that's how you can tell someone's posing. When you don't have someone come, you're like, no, you cannot be like it's mad though. And a thing I find as well, like, right, this is crazy, right? Back in 2015, I went on holidays to Lanzarote, and we were over there, I'd say about 4 days or so. We decided to go to this market. Now, this market, right, is a small market in a small village on the island, right? And when we got to the bus to go to this market, like, there was someone from my town back in Ireland standing there, like, and now I know Lanzarote is popular with people, but it was just bizarre to see. And I'm just thinking, like, you cannot escape Ireland. You can't even it's the same as even when you go to another town, sometimes you end up bumping into people. It's just like Irish people follow each other around or something. It's crazy. Yeah, and definitely 67 White Stang. Definitely check that out. If you get over there, even afterwards, Google the Epic Museum Dublin, and you'll see a bit more about it. There's loads of museums in Dublin that you'd see if when you visit that are interesting. Especially some of the old like the military museum. If you're into that, I'm trying to think. I think there's a Garda Museum as well in Dublin Castle. I'd actually like to go see that myself. I haven't been to see that. The last museum I went to was, I think it was it wasn't the natural history, it was the Heritage Museum, where they have all the stuff that was found in bogs and fields and stuff like that. The name is eluding me there at the moment, but it was the Heritage Museum anyway, where they have all the ancient stuff and all, like stuff that was found, old jewelry and tools and stuff like that. Now, I took an awful lot of pictures up there, and for some reason I cannot find them on my computer. It was about maybe a year ago. No, actually, I lie. It was just before COVID happened, I think. I ended up. I was up at the museum, and yeah, I must post some of those up. On my blog or something like that, or whatever, when I find them eventually, because that's a very interesting museum. Roshi said Trinity College, that's another place to go to see. You can go there to see the Book of Kells, so that would be interesting. Yeah, and turn the page, different page every day. Yeah, I think there is a like an admission fee to go in, which I think like it should be free to go in there, but like to see the Book of Kells, like, but or maybe it is free. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I think I went there to go there years ago with my father, I think, and I think there was I think you had to pay to get in. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a very interesting one. Yeah, definitely. It's great to find out more about history and stuff like that, especially if it involves like immigration, because it's good to go back to where they came from and kind of get a feel for the place or whatever. And if you do happen to know any information from like where they might have been from in Dublin or whatever, you could actually go to that area and God, like you could be lucky. You might even find someone in the local area or something. Like I see people sometimes post in groups on Facebook. They're going to come over on holidays. They'll find the group of that town or area. The local group of people talking about the town or whatever, and they might even ask, say, I'm from the States or whatever, and I have a family, whatever name, and they came from this area. Does anybody know anything? And there might even people respond back, say, oh, my granny used to talk about those people, or you might end up somebody will have a photograph. See, so that's the beauty, I suppose, of the internet these days, that people are able to connect more and find out stuff like that. Joe Fitz is saying, I want to visit Ireland too, but for me it's just for Ireland itself. I wish to know how such a tiny country emanates such a massive culture. Yeah, that's one thing too. I find it like, obviously when you see like the likes of St. Patrick's Day parades in America and all, but I just think that's why I know there's a lot of Irish in America and people went over there. But I'm just saying is that there's a lot of people from other cultures or other nationalities over there, but they don't have a parade as such. I know there is other things that they have over there, but I'm just saying it's stuff like that. And the more and more like interesting stuff that you find out, like about like stuff Irish people have invented now off the top of my head, I can't think of it exactly, but it's something. I know there was a military thing. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a tank. Some Irish guy came up with the idea of a tank, or so. It was something anyway. But yeah, it's there's a lot of I don't know what it is about the culture, why it's so why it emanates so much. It's mad. It's kind of, there's a lot of legend and stuff, with some of the old Irish legends and all. And I suppose a lot of people find that interesting and fascinating. And then I suppose with a lot of American people have an Irish connection, like as we were saying, with immigration and stuff like that. So yeah, like I suppose we've been well spread out over the years, and then I suppose even with the likes of Australia, when a lot of people were sent off to like the prison colonies and stuff down there, um, spread out around the place, and I suppose maybe that's kind of it. Uh, Possibly, like I even seen something there that there was like the Irish people have turned up in the most bizarre places. Like we will find out someday that an Irishman was helping to construct the Great Wall of China back in the day. Most likely he was chipping in a bit there. We'll find out that, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. 67 White Stang is saying my daughter and son-in-law went to NY Ellis Island and found the name McFarlane, but of course don't know if it was my grandparents. So yes, will be interesting. Yeah, as I said, yeah, very interesting, and yeah, definitely. Like, do look more into it, and if you do get a chance to come over, check out those places. Then we're gonna say my dad's family come from Tollymore near Newcastle, Ireland. Now, I don't know if there's more than one Newcastle in Ireland. I'm presuming there probably, yeah, I think there is. There's a Newcastle here in County Wicklow, as well. Yeah, that's interesting. 6756 said, "Geez, spelling wrong, dang phone." Or is it the wine? Could be the wine. Don't blame the wine though. Don't blame the wine. It's allowed. We can say my mother's come from Scotland. Her family tree is traced back to Rob Roy. Oh, that's mad. That's fascinating. Very interesting there. We're saying we are everywhere, and Ireland has such special history as a lot of countries do. Yeah, it's crazy. More than likely, he was trying to steal the stone. Yeah. But that's the thing. People were getting sent away years ago for robbing like loaves of bread, bags of flour, and stuff like that. Anything at all, I suppose, to kind of, you know. Yeah, I'm not sure, Roisin, if there's a couple of Newcastles. There's one in County Wicklow there. It's up. It's only a little village, like it's up there near. Up past Wicklow town before Bray there's a little airfield, Newcastle airfield or airdrome or something it's called. It's only a village, like it's there's not even 100 people living there, I don't think so, but yeah, but I presume it's probably, there's definitely Newcastle in Northern Ireland, and then you have the other Newcastle in the UK as well, and yeah, I think there's a place in Limerick called Newcastle West, but like I don't think there's Newcastle. I don't know. I could be wrong there now, but that's stuck in my head for some reason. Newcastle West or something. Now I don't know. Yeah, but oh, and they was in Northern Ireland. Yeah, so it's Newcastle, Northern Ireland there. But still, yeah, you'd never know. So what else do we have here? Oh yeah, so I was just looking, I had little notes written there. So yeah, so basically, so oh yeah, Newcastle County Down. Yes. Yeah, so a couple of things I just wanted to say there that I have obviously I wrote down a few notes because I'm brutal at remembering. Or it'll be after the stream I'll go and I'll say, oh yeah, I meant to say this. So I was saying about that blog that I do. I said this because I will forget about this. That blog that I do, I'm gonna be putting up stuff about there's a new thing in County Wicklow. It's Beyond the Trees at Avondale. It's a kind of a raised wooden platform along the treetops. It's kind of a walk, and I went there recently. I did some videos, took a few photographs, and so I'm going to do something about that and put it up on the blog, like, you know, and I'll say that when I'll let you know when I do that. Also, there'll be a little thing on that about this sea life when I went to sea life. Just have a few videos of that, just basically stuff like that. And in terms of videos, as I said, I'm working on that Sovereign Files. The first episode of that is basically a look at different sovereign citizens, and not just let's say the regular stuff we look at where, you know, they're in traffic stops getting pulled over by the cops. This is more really more known, some unknown, not as well known, but, you know, kind of high profile cases. But we're going to look at how things like Ruby Ridge, you know, the siege at Ruby Ridge, Waco, Oklahoma City, how some of these things, we're also going to look at those in it, because you know, I kind of consider Timothy McVeigh in certain respects as sort of a sovereign citizen, in terms of he was against the government as such, let's say, right? And what I'm saying is we kind of look at some of those in terms of the more high profile cases, the more extreme cases where it's more like domestic extremism, as opposed to just arguing with the police over an expired registration. You know, this is when it kind of turned a bit deadly in terms of like where people like were shooting the police and stuff like that. So yeah, going to be looking at that. The first episode, I'm kind of working on that. I want the videos to be different than the normal videos I do, in terms of you'll know when you see the first episode the kind of the style I'm going with the episode. So I'm working on that at the moment. That won't be out for a little while, because I want to work on that to make sure it's, you know, this, you know, to the way I kind of envision it or whatever. But yeah, going to do that. Also, for anyone that's interested in getting any merch on the Degenerate Watch store, we still have that 20% off sale. So go over there, check that out if that's something you're interested in. Shameless plug, I know, but okay. So that's it. And obviously hit the like button if you haven't done that already, as it will let YouTube know that people should come here and join us. So yeah, so we're back. So see, had a moment there. Dublin to the Cliffs of Moher is about 5-ish hours, maybe 6. That must be from where yeah, but that's like that's the thing about being a small island. We can get around fairly quickly. No, sometimes in the States, if you were to go from coast to coast, it could take you a number of days. And in Australia, you know, you're looking at a couple of days as well to travel around. Maybe a couple of weeks in some cases. 6-7 White Stag saying, oh yes, Ruby Ridge, awful. Lots of children killed, and Timothy McVeigh, unbelievable. He was only caught because of an issue of his car. Yeah, that's true. As we always say, sometimes it's little things, and people say, why are the police, you know, the way you see some of those guys that criticize the police, be saying, why are the police you know, like, why are the police stopping people for little trivial matters? Are they not out there catching real criminals? But look at the amount of times where busted tail light, expired registration, you know, something like that has led to a big drugs haul, to finding someone that's being held against their will, or, you know, like we're saying there, Timothy McVeigh is escaping from the bombing or whatever, like, you know. So yeah, exactly. Awful things, like Waco, all the kids there and all, and see, this is the thing, it's the whole mentality of, you know, the government can't tell me what to do, and the hell, you know, like we'll die doing it. And that's the thing, that's when it gets really dangerous. And that's why I want this series to be a little bit different than the normal sovereign citizen videos that are done, because it's more extreme cases of it, you know, of that. So hopefully that'll be something you'll enjoy when I get around to doing that. Well, I'm in the process of doing it. I was going to get around to doing. I'm in the process of doing that. I'll also have other videos coming out in the meantime. Yeah, in the meantime there. But what's everyone saying there? Oh yeah, I think that's it's a comment on maybe Roisin's picture there. Is that's obviously you on a scrambler there. So yeah. So something there I was going to. Oh, thanks very much for coming, Joe. I think Joe's heading off there, and appreciate the super chat and super stickers earlier on. And I hope to see you in the next stream or the next video, whichever comes, whichever comes sooner. But yeah, you take care and have a good night. Or yeah, have a good night. I was trying to forget what time it was there now, but have a good night there. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And 67 ways like that means a lot there. Is saying there, I sure did enjoy myself than any live stream I've joined. Awesome, thank you. Well, what I was going to do, thanks, Joe, for saying it was awesome hearing you. It was great hearing you laugh. Yeah, that's why I do want to do more live streams. It's good, like even to even just come on and discuss, like, you know, look at a few stories, clips or something, and then just have a bit of a chat here. It's nice to see different people coming in, talking about different things. Yeah, it's interesting, you know, and I really appreciate that. Thanks very much. I was going to show, if anybody wants to have a look at it, I was going to show it's a chase that happened in Florida recently. If anyone wants to hang on for that, I know it's pretty late. We've been here 2 hours? It's gone nearly on 3 hours here. But I was going to show, that was the last clip I had there to show. It was a box truck chase in Florida. Yeah. I'm just gonna see. I thought I had something written down about. No, basically it was just a stolen box truck. So I'll throw that on there now in a second. Obviously, the way things are working here at the moment, I'm not quite sure what my issue is at the moment, whether it's my internet or my computer. But when I'm trying to, when I'm trying to share a video, like we had the issue we had the last night. Was when I was trying to share my from a Chrome tab in this streaming software. It should share the audio, but it wasn't sharing the audio. Now the other thing about that is that like when like there's no audio, like I was trying to figure out what way that was working. Now I don't know if it's I'm trying to iron that out. So that may be okay, but when I'm sharing the video through this, what I found was that the way I share these clips, I upload them to this, and then when I play them, so I can't actually stop the clip in the middle, to comment or to talk or whatever. But when I put them, when I share it through the video player, on this, I should be able to do that, but I just have to iron out a few things with it. But this is the best way for doing it at the moment, where I upload the clips, because then it plays better for you guys, because the other way it'll be a lot of jumping around. Well, I think anyway, so I'm trying to iron that out. I'm kind of doing a few test streams here behind the scenes and all. I'm kind of looking at it on another phone and just seeing what way it goes. So I'll try get better, but so far it's not going. It seems like it hasn't went too bad. But yeah, and I appreciate that 67 White Stang is saying recognize everyone. General Watch recognize everyone, which is just awesome. And that's the thing. I try to recognize everyone, and a thing in the premiere as well, when it gets to the end, sometimes the video ends very quickly, and I'm trying to tag everyone, and sometimes somebody may have commented only, let's say, once or twice at the top of the stream, and maybe wasn't in the conversation further on. And I always feel bad then, because when I'm trying to tag everybody, I'm afraid of leaving someone out or whatever. So that's why recently I've just been saying thank you to everybody, instead of trying to tag everyone. So if I don't tag you or anything, if you're in the premiere or a live stream or anything, if I don't tag you or whatever, it's not that I didn't, it's just in the premiere when the video's ending and everyone's leaving, it's hard to get in there and write a comment and tag everyone really quickly before everyone leaves. So don't think I'm being ignorant or like that or anything like that. I do see the comments and all that, because I sit there for a few minutes after, and I do be looking through them or whatever. And so I do see your comments and all like that. And the odd time, I know Joe, I think, has one time at the end of one of the streams had left a super chat or something like that, and I had missed it because I just went off because some people joined the stream a bit later, on a premiere, and they're a bit behind. So it sometimes works out. So that's not too. So I hope nobody gets offended. I mean, I'm not saying people getting offended, but I don't say that these days about people getting offended. Or anything, but I'm just saying, I hope people don't think that, you know, I'm ignoring them or anything. It's not like that. And then in like this, I try to recognize people. Obviously, as time goes on, if we get more people coming into the stream, it may get harder to. But I'll try my best to, you know, at least recognize everyone as to come into the stream and to say hello and stuff like that. But it's nice to show up the comments and, you know, get a discussion going about what people are saying, you know. And I'm sorry as well if some people might as well get everything out in the open there. If some people think that maybe I'm talking too much or going through the comments too much or whatever, I you know, I'm trying to kind of balance it out between showing a few clips and stuff like that. So kind of get sidetracked in the conversation. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just in case people think it's kind of, sometimes these streams aren't planned. We kind of come on and see where it ends up, I suppose. But and see 6-7 saying that could be with some channels. Like I see some people, like they might have 400, 500, 600 people in a stream on some of the other channels, and like that's insane. Like to trying to notice everybody, but I suppose as people commenting in, you know, to at least acknowledge somebody's there, if there's even saying hello, you know. I know some people will chat amongst themselves in the comments there or whatever, but you know, if people are, you know, making a point or something like that, it's good to say there. I know what you're saying. One of the few creators that can pronounce my name. Yeah, but that's true. I always find that funny with some of the Irish names and people that you know, they're trying to pronounce them. I just find it funny, like some of the ways the people would try to say it, like, you know, and fadas and stuff like that will throw people off as well. So and good to see that that you use the fadas as well, because I know there's some people that don't or whatever like that, but it's nice to see, to keep the language alive. And Roisin always comes in and always gives us a bit of Irish in the stream. I'm not great myself at it. I will admit I've had to Google a few times, but you know, much to my shame, obviously. But yeah, you know, but it's nice to see. It's nice to keep it. You know, you just there's the pronunciation there, Roisin. But yeah, yeah. So sometimes yeah, Dave McGill is saying it's odd. Sometimes I can tag people with that, and others I can't. Yeah, there's sometimes if people use a particular font, you know. So some people, there was somebody the other day, Beautiful Mess, I think, commented, and I couldn't actually tag her back because her name was written in like a different font. So like when you're trying to tag, it has to be the exact same or something like that. So I wasn't able to tag. And then 67 White Stang says, you can only do what you can. Some people get butthurt if you don't recognize them, and that's too bad. And that's the thing. It's, you know, you can only try your best and, you know, see how you get on. Like, but and that's the thing I found as well. Like when I start making videos on YouTube, when I made my first couple of videos, and like when, you know, when some people, like, you know, you might get negative comments or something, or you know, videos get a certain amount of views, and then like you put up another video and it kind of, it wouldn't be as popular as the other one, and you know, it would dishearten you a bit. But you know, you kind of just have to yeah, you just have to kind of just get on with it, I suppose. But Roshi says I'm fluent in literate in Gaeilge, and yeah, and that's good, and that's the thing. I like to see that more. I'd like to see that more, like, you know, the language being kept alive as such. I don't know if you see that in the paper recently. There's somebody going around Donegal over there, spray painting all the English names on the signs, Xing them out. You know, kind of making a statement. You know, that, you know, about the Irish language. Like, but that's good. At least it's drawing attention to that. Like, I'm not condoning the vandalism or whatever, but it's a good it's good. Yeah, Dave is saying there, I can never tag Roisin. If you're looking to tag Roisin and you do @ right, and I pressed that. I didn't notice for ages until I think Roisin mentioned it in a stream, in one of the streams or something. I just press Alt GR I'm not great at tech here. Alt GR or alt whatever. Alt GR and then the O. The fodder should come up. Or I don't know if you're. Yeah, it should come up, shouldn't it? I think maybe I've just completely explained that wrong there. But 6-7 White Stang is saying what is Gaelge? Never heard of it. It's the Irish. It's the Irish word for the Irish language, I suppose. It's the language. The national language. Well, I suppose English is the official whatever, but that's the native language. Gaelge is. Oh yeah, I forgot. Like not everyone's. Yeah, that's good thinking, Batman. The vowel key on an iPad or iPhone. Yeah, because I'm just on a computer here, so I was assuming. That's been around for centuries. Yeah. Geez, I don't know how long, but that an awful long time, and even some of the languages like Scottish Gaelic, isn't it, that speak up there? I'm not sure what the name of it is that they speak. A lot of them are kind of similar, related, you know. Yeah, even on my phone, I won't tag you. Yeah, and 67 White Stang saying so interesting. I learned a lot. Thank you. I know that's great, and that's good. That's why as well in some of the videos why I like to add in a few bits and all if I come across an interesting point or something like that. Like in some of my old videos, I probably came across stuff that I never thought of adding them in as such, but just after, you know, like recently as they're saying, you know, I should start adding a few bits like that in it, you know, any information, especially like we seen that other video where you come across places that are named after someone. So what I'll do now is I'll play this Florida man in his box truck in a pursuit, and I'll get a bit of a drink for myself here and all that, and then we'll come back after it. This clip is a couple of minutes long, not mad long, not like some of those like mad pursuit videos where they go on for like an hour. This goes on for like, it's only a few minutes, but sort it out here now. Just had to find it. I thought I had it. I thought I had it in the thing ready to go there, but just bear with me a second. Just have to find the right one because I had two versions of it here. One was a bit piece at the start of it was missing, or at the end of it was missing. Yeah, so. I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm just taking here for a second. No, we're not banjaxed. We're not banjaxed. We're just wondering why this clip was being so elusive to me here. We should be all right here now in a second. So while I wait for that to do its thing there, it's I actually thought I had it put into the thing already. I'll just come back to that in just 1 second. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I'm just waiting on that clip, and then I'll play that in a second there. But yeah, it's good to kind of if you learn something, and that's the thing as well about different people chatting to each other and all. It's interesting, you know. You never know what you'll end up talking about or finding out or anything like that. So very interesting. Yeah, Roger, we will entertain ourselves, no worries. Yeah, just that's the thing. I need to have a side piece here or something to play when there's technical difficulties. It's not so much a technical difficulty as in I thought I actually had that clip loaded into this, but it's just loading into it there now as we speak. But yeah, I thought I had already put that in there, but I didn't. My bad. So it's like failing to prepare. What's that to say? Yeah, failure to prepare to fail, and that was a fail. Yeah, so that'll be ready in a second there. Banjax equals beyond broken. Yeah, Banjax means no use, of no more use to anybody. Yeah, broken beyond broken. It's not irreparable. The barrier arms have come down. The train is almost loaded. Yeah, that's what's happening. Tickets are being checked. Baggage is being loaded. And the baggage, no baggage. Most likely, with my luck, I'd forget my baggage. Yeah, definitely look up some of those museums and stuff like that. And Roshi said I'm translating for the non-Irish. That's it. We need a translator here for all these, for this Irish terminology. So if anything else comes up, Roshi can be the official translator. If anybody has any queries about, some of the terminology that's used. Yeah, the crack, you have to know what the crack is, and you have to be willing to have the crack. But I'm not now. I know that means differently in America. I'm not encouraging. YouTube will probably pick that up wrong. I'm not telling people to go out and do that. I'm saying have the crack, the fun, the crack. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing is why like if there's no reason to do anything, just do it for the crack. That's good enough reason. So now, yeah, my clip has loaded in. Thank God. I didn't think that was going to go well, but yeah, it did. So we're going to have a look at this Florida chase here. A couple of minutes of a clip. So yeah, and I'll be back after. I'm going to get a little bit of a drink while this plays here, and I'll be back here when this when it's finished.
Turn around. Bravo Mike, red shirt, beard. Westbound Arch Road. Did you fail? Negative. Turn on. Wrong way, Arch Road traffic. 100 block. Reserve Canapa. Back in the right lane of travel. Acceleration point. Right behind you. Anybody have any ideas on fitting? Can we fit a two-wheel drive or a two-wheel rear vehicle? What kind of vehicle is it again? We're coming out and have I'm sorry. Acceleration point. Not hard to do. Pretty small. It's a short box truck. $46. Yeah. If it becomes a daily, I'll need to stop the vehicle fitting. Definitely a danger. I'm thinking getting this vehicle off the road. Corey, where are you at now? R393. 75 Jeff James, 6 out in front of Madison Coast. You're talking about. Like your update, please. We're eastbound. We're past the Burger King eastbound.
Call one on call from ASO. Eastbound. 4,000 block eastbound. Speeds are about 60 mile an hour.
ASO unit 2300 Archer.
Northbound into the new Butler Plaza. Northbound 37 Boulevard.
He's really locked him in. That's the perfect opportunity in that plaza.
Hey, pulling into the Best Buy. Alright, he's running through the Best Buy Plaza.
You bring up my vehicle also.
Alright, we're back on Archer Road. I am now the lead vehicle. Oh, signal 4 into a ASO K9, still eastbound, place P. Hey, you good?
You can get here in the island. I'm going to check on this red car.
Alright, we are at 35th Boulevard, still eastbound, wrong side of the road, coming up to 34th Street.
Vehicle, pit that truck, pit that truck.
Trying to get to it. Speed 60 mile an hour.
Do you have any lag at ASO units? I hit a ride.
Northbound 34th Street, northbound 34th Street.
Alright, 1388, I'm calling it. Northbound through Windmill Boulevard on 34th Street.
Trying to get up to a pit.
Signal 4, gaining wrong lane of traffic. Piccadilly, wrong lane of travel, past Piccadilly. Continuing on. Alright, we're still continuing northbound, passing the Metro Diner.
It's good to see the help us, guys. We need to stop this now.
Stand by. Okay, so third quarter. Attention pit, we are going through the Metro Diner Plaza. We're on 34, keep her off. Everybody hold the traffic for a second so we can call it. We're through the parking lot, we're about to come out at 34th Street. Attention pit, again, coming back out on the 34th Street. Going back southbound on 34th. I need to block up Wind Meadows Boulevard.
They ain't wrong. I ain't blaming the police. They just protecting the people.
Uniform.
I ain't even mad at y'all, because y'all did y'all job.
Well, there you go, guys. He's not mad at the police, at least. You know, they were only doing their jobs after all. And, like, he just He's just a poor Florida man who just wanted to go to Best Buy and a little tour of the county, and the darn police got in the way. That seems to be what's happened there. Florida man's such a victim of the law, isn't he? But yeah, clearly crazy there. He stole that box truck. Anyway, there's not much. I haven't found out much about it, but he stole that box truck, and obviously the police were chasing him. Probably just an opportunist thing or whatever, or was hoping there was something in the back, like. But surprising, as some people are saying there, as Hiroshi was saying, surprised it didn't tip over. A couple of times I thought it was going to tip over. And then at one point, I don't know if anyone noticed, when he was on the opposite side of the road, he passed a school bus. I don't know if there was any kids on the school bus at the time, but obviously very dangerous going down the wrong side of the road and stuff like that. But yeah, and his response then, I'm not even mad at you, you know, you're just doing your job. He was just so laid back about it, like talking as if he wasn't in a high-speed chase where he could have potentially killed loads of people, like. So yeah, and I feel bad for that person whose car, you know, somebody's gone into Best Buy to pick up a few bits, and they come out and the side of their car is just smashed to pieces by this box truck. But yeah, clearly not good. And then the dogs at the end, pity didn't try run a little bit more. Pity didn't try run a little bit more. Maybe the dogs could have got a bit of exercise chasing him down, because he wouldn't have got away from the dogs, I don't think, there. But yeah, next time, maybe next time a nice Honda or a Volkswagen, yeah, something that he might actually have a chance in, you know, evading the cops in, not that box truck, like, you know, that's like something you'd see out in GTA with one of those box trucks. But yeah, it doesn't work in real life as such, or a Challenger. Yeah, something you can get out there in, and yeah, obviously something inconspicuous. But it's the same as that guy in the most recent video with the piece of construction equipment. Like, how do you think you're actually getting away with that? And plus, he was driving that down the pavement. Like that's going to draw major attention to you. That's why someone ended up bringing the police on him in the first place. If you had to be just driving down the street, he even said that to the cops in it. Oh, maybe if I drove on the road, it'd be quicker. That'd be the right thing to do, like, you know. And I mean, Roger said, I have a VW. Nothing wrong with a VW. My car's a Ford. So, you know, a Bug, yeah, or Jetta. Oh, Jetta R-Line, very nice. Jettas are a nice car, and I don't see that many Jettas. Just nothing but Boras and Passats everywhere. I don't know, is there Boras and Passats in the States? Anybody there? Yeah, Jetta from the States. Who said Jetta? It's very rare you see a Jetta over here. I haven't seen that many Jettas over here. A lovely car. Yeah, even some of the older Jettas are nice as well. Oh, very nice. Russian brought it with her over. Was that handy enough bringing the car over? I know they probably hammered you over here with VRT and all that, but I mean, like, the whole shipping the car from there over, like, is that handy enough? A left drive, yeah, it's unique as well, something different. Yeah, left drive over there. Yeah, fix or replace daily. I tell you, at the moment, there's a bit of a burning smell coming out of it. It's like I don't know, like burning rubber or something. They're saying it could be like a belt or something like that, or a pipe getting too hot. But it's been like that for ages. Like, so I don't know. Like, I'm it's one of those long finger things where it's been left on the back burner for a while. But yeah, I don't do an awful lot of driving, to be quite honest. But yeah, fix or replace daily. It's like the Fiats as well. Fix it again tomorrow. Our left drive's just the side that the steering wheel's on. You know, like over here, it's on the right hand side. The steering wheel is on the right hand side, and the passengers be sitting on the left, like, and so we drive on the other side of the road. Oh yeah, well that's good that it didn't. Well, obviously, that it didn't cost you anything. Yeah, so you didn't really have any headache with that to kind of have it moved or anything like that. So that's good. Yeah, because I know some people and they're importing cars from Japan and all, to say it could be kind of a bit logistical, we try to get it transported. But yeah, I suppose there are companies out there. There are companies out there that do that as well. Dave says, Fiats have rear heated windows to keep your hands warm while pushing. I think so. That's where you spend most of your time, at the back window pushing. But yeah, I had one Fiat years ago. Yeah, wasn't great now, to be honest with you. Yeah, I had a Peugeot years ago as well. That was quite good until the water pump in it gave up on me one day when I was out. I was kind of left stranded. When I first see the steam coming, I thought it was smoke. I thought the thing was going to go up in flames, but no. So old water pump. But that was the end of that car. It was kind of one of those where the water pump was the least of its worries, to be quite honest. Yeah, the steering wheel's on the left side, 60 white Stang. So is that what you're saying there, that had so yeah, you mean it's more efficient than here? And that's something I've seen actually there. I don't know if every state in America does this, but I've seen, I think it was in New York, someone had a video up. So basically, in order to help emissions and stuff like that, and to help safety on the roads, it's not so much like we have an NCT test over here where you have to bring the car, depending on the car's age, either every year or every 4 years, for a test of roadworthiness and the emissions and all that. But over there, they did a thing where you could bring your car in, and they had mechanics where they check it out. I don't know, I think this is in New York somewhere, where these mechanics would check out the car for you, test the emissions, and they don't so much. I'm not sure if they actually can repair the car for you, but it's because there was a lot of people driving cars around that had a lot of stuff wrong with them, and the emissions were brutal and all. They brought in this thing where you can basically bring it in to have it looked at and advise you. I think it was in New York somewhere, but it was quite interesting. Yeah, the motorcycle tend to be more economical these days, especially with the price. I can't believe actually now that the price of diesel is actually well, it has been for a little while there, but actually more than petrol, which is unusual for a while there, because I remember a good few years ago they were pushing the whole thing about dump the petrol car and get a diesel. Roger saying some of the states have emissions and safety and emission inspections. Yeah, that's the thing. I wasn't sure over there. I was a bit naive for a while up until a few years ago. I thought it was kind of a free for all over there in most places where you could just drive whatever you wanted. But obviously, there's laws in place to do with the car having to be in a good condition. But I wasn't sure what way it worked. But then as I look more into it, I seen that a lot of states have their own testing, and you're saying there for emissions. And I think emissions is kind of a big thing over there. Now I might be wrong, but I think it's a kind of a big thing. Petrol is near $8 US. So it's that's what's that for a gallon, or? But yeah, no, it's crazy prices at the moment. When you put what would have a €5 or €10 years ago in a small 1 liter car, you put that into it, and you'll nearly get a week out of it if you weren't doing mad driving, you know what I mean, if you were just driving around town or something like that, doing little bits and bobs like that. But now it's not like that anymore. 67 White Stang is saying, my brother totaled my 67 Mustang, but got my Toyota 4x4. Liftgate huge tires, visor, winch guard, KC daylighter lights on the roll bar. Being from a hick town, got my truck. No, but it's nice. Trucks are cool. Especially ones with a lot of mods on them and all. by any chance, what type of Toyota is it? I like the Toyota Hilux Jeeps. They're really nice. Yeah, but you need, especially like living out somewhere more rural, you need something like that kind of, a truck like a 4x4 pickup or something like that. But yeah, that's a shame about the Mustang. And hopefully your brother was okay. Yeah, Rush said a gallon. Yeah, that's crazy. $8 a gallon. So yeah, crazy. Roshi saying I lived in New Hampshire and Florida. No inspections, but Massachusetts did. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's mad the way it's different in different places. Like, yeah, it's weird. Like, and over here, like, I suppose, yeah, there are bad cars that get rooted out because of the NCT, but there are trivial things about it too. Like, a lot of people say it's just a bit of a money racket at times. But and then that's down in Australia. They're saying it'll be about $12 a gallon. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, when are these when's it gonna kind of start coming down again, the prices? It's like, I kind of saying it's all dependent on this conflict that's going on in Ukraine, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's kind of a thing that's being said. Like, I seen it. There was a theory. Somebody was, I can't even remember where I seen this, but someone talking about it the other day, saying about this the oil crisis or energy crisis, we'll say, is kind of it's obviously benefits the energy companies because they're putting up the prices, because they're saying, oh, it's demand and a shortage of supply. So they're saying it's very convenient, like, to kind of, use Ukraine and that, and kind of that to nudge prices up. Like, and they're saying, like, are prices genuinely going up, or is it just a manufactured thing? But oh yeah, Dave's saying our prices always go up again in your winter. So yeah, so we're gonna start coming into winter now shortly again. So they'll probably start rising again over there then. It's weird how all that works and all, and like when they're talking about, like, I remember saying, like, when I was a kid, stuff about, like, oh, we only have so many years of oil left, but like, I don't know if that's the thing. Like, to see that's another thing I'm saying, is that is that an actual thing where, like, we're gonna run out of oil? Like, because there was something documentary I watched a while ago where they were talking in it about like, the way, like, when we extract the oil out of the ground, like, this was something to do with oil. It was like being renewed, like, it's kind of like the oil, like, it's being renewed at a faster rate, let's say, than it would take oil to form or whatever. Like, so basically they were saying that there could be untapped oil, like, you know what I mean? This different. That's what I'm trying to say. There's easy to get oil, and then there's oil that's harder to extract. And they're talking about methods to get that, to make it easier. Something to do with that, to make it easier. So I'm saying that, is that what they're talking about? We're running out of easy to get oil, but like, there's other stuff there that's going to be, and that maybe that'll, like, push the price up, obviously, in turn, if it's harder to get. But yeah, and the governments with their tax take as well. And that's the thing here in Ireland. A good portion of the price of the petrol is tax. I think it's like, it's a mad crazy percentage, and like, that's what the government could actually do. And that's the thing with here. We actually have to pay road tax as well, for the cars to drive on the road. So like, for my car, it's what works out at about €100, we'll say, for 3 months. And like, you're also like paying petrol, like, so what I'm saying is, if they put the price of the tax onto the petrol, I suppose, like, you'd be paying for what you're actually driving. Like, whereas, like, someone out there could not bother paying for tax on their car, and they're not paying that, but they're still able to drive. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. Yeah, and Roisin just mentioned there a TV tax. Yeah, we have a TV license here, of course, and managing director of RTE is constantly wanting that to be increased. She's saying it's not enough. And you know, in this day and age, for a TV station not to be able to generate enough of its own income without having to look for TV license fees and stuff like that, you know, to get the take out of that, it's ridiculous. Like, to be quite honest, in this day and age, as to say, but they were even talking about bringing in a charge to do it. You know, if you have a computer and you have access to these, you know, on-demand players like the RTE player, stuff like that, they want to charge you for that, you know, because a lot of people getting rid of their TVs now, you see, and they were just watching everything on the computer or on a smartphone or a smart TV. Well, I suppose that's still a TV, but you know, it's all to do with having a receiver and all this stuff. Like, a lot of people are watching their stuff on the internet now, so yeah. Yeah, like, even people get a smart TV and they just watch stuff on the internet. They don't actually watch TV. Like, so, like, I don't really watch any TV, really. I watch most stuff on the internet, on YouTube and stuff like that. And like that's the thing about the TV license. It's weird. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just, it seems like an outdated thing. And that these are all things the government could axe, you know, fairly quickly. Like the same with the road tax, to put it, because like, where does your road tax go? Like, you pay the road tax to the local authority or whatever, county council, and the roads are still in bits. You know what I mean? Like, there's you don't see the money. Like, you know, at least you see in some other countries, like when people pay the tax, you go down and have nice paved roads on. Here, you have roads and they're in tatters. And then Ross is just bringing up there, remember the water tax? I remember that. Yeah, that was crazy. And there was like all sorts of like stuff going on. Do you remember that? There was like lads coming out to put water meters in housing estates, and there was people like blocking them from doing their work and all, and the guards were coming, and there was all drama and all these housing estates and groups set up. It was actually madness at the time. And then the government kind of backed down on it, but they had the meters in. So then they were talking about if you go over a certain amount of use, you get charged. And like, to be quite honest, I think it's just kind of sitting there dormant at the moment. And like the quango, as they call it, that they set up to run the whole thing, Irish Water, like they took the running of the water off the local authorities, like, and they gave it to this company that they set up, Irish Water. And like, they're responsible for the whole thing. But it's crazy, because the way they were saying before, it was better when the councils ran it, because each local authority was responsible for their own waters and, you know, their own infrastructure in their county. So it was obviously being like, you know, there was more being done. Now this crowd is responsible for everything, and it's just, you know, yeah, it's a mess, really, to be quite honest. Yeah, each country is so different on taxes. Yeah, it's crazy, like, you know. And sure, I just seen there's people like over in Dubai, if you work for some of the state airlines, you don't pay any tax. Now, I know they're wealthy countries, like, but I'm just saying, if you work for some of the state airlines, you don't actually have to pay any tax, which is that's good for people that do that. But I just said, there's Dave is just heading off there, saying catch you all next time. And thanks for coming, Dave. It's nice to see you here, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day or evening. I'm not sure. But yeah, I hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining us. I hope to see you again soon. Yeah, so yeah, we all said hardly, Roisin, yeah, because we didn't. Nobody thought that they were going to actually do that. And I remember, see, that's the thing. I think remember when they brought in the property tax? See, that's the thing. There's a tax, everything tax, anything you have, there's a tax on it. You can't. The next they'll have a tax on actually having the crack. A tax on having the crack, Roisin. I think we may have just given them an idea, which is bad. So this stream will have to be immediately deleted before someone gets an idea. But yeah, I noticed that yeah, that there's number tax, but that's what I'm saying with the property tax. When they brought in the property tax, like I don't think there was enough of a pushback against that. And once they got that in the door, I think they were kind of rubbing their hands, and then they said, "Oh well, now we can charge for the water," you know. And then they get that in the door, and it'll be something else and something else. Should you remember during the recession, they brought in the USC charge, the USC tax charge, whatever you want to call it, whatever guys they wanted to put on it, and that was only supposed to be temporary until the recession was over, and that's still coming out of people's wages. Sure, people were telling me that like even back in the day there was I think it was some tax put on the wages years ago, and it was basically it was something to do with they took the tax off the petrol, and or there was something they did years ago where they were messing around with tax like that, and I don't know, it's mad, like it's just tax everything to the hilt. Yeah, never ending recession, and that's why I'm saying we came out of the recession and people are still getting charged that, and that's why I'm saying there was something years ago where there was some crisis or something like that, and they did something, and the same thing. And I seen 67 White Stank saying, "I'm gone. Thank you for this awesome live stream. Met so many very nice people. Unbelievable. I was always trying your live stream. And thanks very much for coming. And it's great to see you here. And hopefully you'll be here for the next one. So and I will post up when I go on to do the next one so people actually know. So it's not just kind of being sprung on people. But yeah, and thanks very much for joining us. It was great. And probably with that, then I'll end the stream myself now in a second, because we've been going for now 3.5 hours here, and you know people are starting to head on there. Whatever's starting to get late. I can feel the tiredness sinking in here, but yeah, like I'm hoping to do another stream now, like very shortly, like in the next couple of days. It's good to get on and chat with people, and it's kind of it's a good break between normal videos too, to come on and see what people are up to and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of like this sort of format as such, where you know, like look at a few different stories or something, catch the eye and all and stuff like that. And then obviously when I improve things here, which whatever issue I'm having, whether it's internet, computer wise, but when I iron all that out, I can we'll be able to like look at videos, you know, we'll be able to look at more of it, people be able to suggest videos on YouTube and be able to go and have a look at them and stuff. So we will kind of expand into that. But for now, I kind of get some clips and stuff and play them. We can have a chat and all. But yeah, it was great seeing everybody. And thanks very much to everyone that came, and anybody that is watching it back. I don't know if anyone will watch all the way back to 3 hours and 37 minutes, but if they do, thanks for staying with us this long. But yeah, thanks to everyone. Thanks to Roisin for coming along. It was great talking to you. And I hope you have a great rest of your night, or if you're going to bed, you get some sleep, or maybe you're up to go out and do some work on the farm, maybe. But whatever you do, I hope you have a nice Sunday. And I hope to see you again soon. And thanks to everyone for joining us here. And don't forget to check out some of the other videos we did recently. They're down below in the description. That's the tiredness kicking in. I couldn't remember the word for that place. Down below in the description. So thanks very much. And of course, Roisin with the little bit of Irish there, saying Slán agus go raibh maith agat. Thanks again. The crack was mighty. And thank you very much. And Slán and Sláinte. And hope you have a nice Sunday. And thanks very much, everyone. See you later. Stay safe. Take care. Peace.